Flamingo!
Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday the 7th of January, 2012. The double deuce. Or the deuce dizzy, I think.
Yeah, that's what they intended it was.
Something like that. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
Woo.
And Robert Kemp. Welcome.
Robert is chicken.
Well, we've decided that our new theme thing, a word,
Our new cue point.
our new cue point word will be a form of bird.
Yeah.
Alright, you just revealed what the purpose of those random words
No.
was.
Oh, okay. If you
Because I don't think we've ever actually said that before.
if you haven't said the word cue, they still have to guess what that means.
No, yeah.
But I think if you knew anything about like audio stuff,
or how recording things work.
yeah,
Okay, for one time only, they have the secret.
yes, listen to this podcast and you'll know the secret.
We shall never speak of it again.
No, we'll just get a random bird. Anyway, how's it going, guys?
Yeah.
How's it going game-wise?
Enthusiasm.
Game-wise,
Game-wise.
It was Christmas. That was what happened.
That shit has happened, Joe. And
Steam sale of Doom.
yeah, well,
it started off
should we
weak.
talk about the Steam sale?
Yeah, we should talk about the part of it that wasn't the sale.
News!
Oh, we're into news.
Well,
Technically, yeah.
kind of automatic.
Yeah. Go. Steam
Steam
theme
shit sale
coupons.
of shitness of shitty shit, well, good sale, but
Good sale in
shitty
the end.
extras.
The coupon stuff just
Oh
doesn't
my
make any
God.
sense to me.
What the fuck?
What's with that?
What
the
were you?
worst.
What were you thinking?
Maybe they've run out of energy on like working out ARGs and stuff, and they just went, "Oh, we have to have something." Oh.
Yeah, but even the TF2 hat thing is better than this.
Why did they make the prices so crap when the actual deals were so good?
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, because the basic point that we're making here is that the vouchers ended up being worse than the sale prices, pretty much universally. And they're only available for use after the sale had ended, so basically it's like, if you delay, you'll still get a bonus, but it'll be shit!
Yeah, if you don't want to buy something at Christmas when everyone buys stuff and you want to buy something in March, then you can get it for more money. Woo! Clearly.
And on top of that, a lot of the vouchers were utter tripe, in general. Like, 10% off any one Valve game. Really?
Right.
Well, the
Yeah.
Valve ones were always bound to be shit.
I know, but there were so many of those.
Yeah, but that was the problem, because it was like the first free one that you got just from like looking at the inventory or whatever was a Valve one, obviously, because they had give away their own shit for free, they don't really care. But then what happened towards the end of it was, it had this system where you complete the achievements, and it sometimes gives you a voucher or a random prize, and it sometimes gives you a coal. And the idea of the coal was that you could either use them for the entry into the big, like, prize draw at the end of the sale, or you could craft 7 coal together and get another different voucher or prize out of it.
Now, you see, the problem with that is that, you know, while the idea of the gift pile was good, I kind of expected them not to be coupons, to be actual gifts.
Well, some of them were.
Yeah, but, you know, the vast majority were shitty coupons.
Well, you don't really know that, because it's like, how many did you get? Like, 3?
I got, out of the 11 objectives I obtained, 6 of them were shitty coupons.
Well, that's like nearly 70, like...
No, that's over 50% of my outcome has been shitty coupons.
Didn't they try and sell the games in the sale on the basis that you could get achievements in them that would count towards the coupons?
Well, yeah,
Yes.
obviously. That's how they always do
It's
those.
entirely
But that's-
self-fucking.
Like, quite dumb, isn't it?
Like, yeah.
But
I'd prefer
think
to have
it-
just had the coal, I think. And like had the entries into the competition, like the old system used to.
You could win an actual game. I won an extra copy of Half-Life 1.
Fucking hell. Is it Half-Life Source?
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I can't buy that, and I want it. How do the only way I can get it is by buying the Valve Complete Pack?
Yeah.
There's no way of buying that. It's really...
Is there not?
No,
I
you
didn't
can't,
realise it wasn't listed separately.
you can't buy on Half-Life Source.
Oh.
I think that was the only actual prize that I won. There was I had a coupon for 1C, which was at least that coupon was equal as the sale price. Oh no, wait, that one wasn't. Was it? No. I'm pretty sure that one was worse. And then I got a coupon for some percent off Max Payne 2. Very specific coupon.
What?
Completely useless.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of game-specific ones. Like,
How
the
much
best
was-
one I got was 50% off Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which actually isn't that bad.
That's quite good,
as far as
especially
the-
because you're well placed for that to start that
as
game.
far as the coupons go, that was an okay one. But the rest of it was shit.
But then when I finally got round to doing enough achievements to get 7 bits of coal, I crafted them and then got another 33% off Valve coupon, which is the first coupon that you get for free. But that was because of another problem, where they only had a limited pool of gifts and coupons to give out.
Yeah.
That the third parties had let them.
That the third party people had allowed them to put in there. So once those ran out, everyone just started getting Valve games and coupons.
Right.
But they didn't announce that they had run out, so you craft your coal and you just get more Valve shit. Because obviously you don't craft your coal until
Right.
the end, if you're not going to use it for the draw.
But
So everyone who was crafting at the last day or two was just getting Valve shit, which they hadn't announced.
They eventually put a little red box, didn't they, on the main gift pile page? But it was kind of below it was one of those, how web design works. It was kind of below the fold.
Yeah.
So you had to scroll down to see the red box, to see that they had told everyone that's like, you can't actually win anything other than Valve shit anymore.
Yeah.
Well, at least they said something.
They did say
Eventually.
it, but it was a bit of a...
Maybe they-
it's bad design to just sort of not put it up front like that. And it's...
They must have underestimated.
Well, no, what was actually happening was people were making free Steam accounts and then grinding the
Oh, yeah.
achievements. the free achievements that you didn't have to actually buy games for.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Oh, but shouldn't they have been able to limit that though? So you didn't. So you had to.
I'm sure they'll think of
Wouldn't it be behind Steam's normal pay barrier of things like you can't have friends if you haven't bought a game?
Well, they
you
should
can't
have, but they didn't.
I think maybe they bought like a 10p item.
Well, yeah, they could have just bought any, £1 game during the sale. Maybe one of the £1 games that had achievements as well, attached to the pile to get one more.
and then put it in their inventory and gift it to their main account.
No, once you've played a game, you can't re-gift it.
No, but maybe they didn't have to play it.
That's true.
I think it only works. Steam only works on you have to have bought something to validate the account fully.
Yeah,
So they could buy something for the inventory.
yeah.
And then gift it to their main account.
So yeah, that's basically what happened. People just made millions of extra Steam accounts and grinded all that shit, and then the prizes ran out because of that. So people have bastards with Steam accounts where they've got 50 million extra games and coupons.
Damn it. Oh well, that's a shame.
There's always bastards, isn't there? And regardless of what
always
someone
are.
does, there's always bastards.
But Steam itself, the sale, if you disregard all that
If you
stuff.
disregard all
It
the
was-
metagame stuff, yeah.
Because
it's
we were
pretty good.
complaining that it was a bit lame, and it was a bit lame at first, but you've got to get the lame stuff out of the way. I mean,
Yeah, I
there was
guess.
some pretty awesome stuff. I bought quite a bit, I think. I seem to remember.
Yeah.
Too much for me to I was
Too many
definitely,
things.
I was definitely not buying things at the end just because I knew I didn't have time to play them, and not because I didn't want to play them.
There
was
were
stuff that was
a
like-
few deals I passed by thinking my backlog is too big to be bothered with this.
It's like, this is a total bargain. I want to play this game. I haven't got enough time because I bought all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But then by the time you actually do have time to play that game, it'll be even cheaper.
That's
Success.
well, will it? That's the thing. Will it be a year?
The summer sale, or the summer sale, or the autumn sale,
Or the
the
Easter
winter
sale, or however many more fucking sales they want.
That's
What
true.
might come up on the daily deal?
But these ones are the best deals, aren't they? These Christmas ones, aren't they?
I don't know about the best.
Some of them were pretty
Some of them are
ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I mean some of them
quality.
are awesome.
75% off is usually as high as it goes.
And there seems to be a magic number of when it gets to less than £4, it it registered in my brain as free.
Yeah.
So it's like Bastion. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll probably
Yeah.
play that at some point.
That's why I got you both Space Game.
What was it, 60p or something?
174.
Oh, bonus.
Yeah.
Normal price is £6.
Ooh.
I was like, £6? What?
Yeah, and it's of course, at that point, it's what? He's giving us extra ones. Oh, I'm gonna have to reciprocate. So I'd we got the Magicka DLC to go through. Something.
Oh, right, yeah.
Once we actually finished the main game.
Yeah.
That was cheap, and I was thinking of
It was
getting
like
that
a
and thinking,
pound.
no, I can't, don't have time. It's probably awesome.
Not even very long.
It's not very long. No.
Oh, well, maybe I should.
But it would have been better when you get decent internet.
Yeah,
So
that's true. You need
Oh,
to,
that's
you need to play it
much-
multiplayer.
I played the game. I played the first 3 chapters in solo,
The thing is,
and it's much better in co-op.
It's because you need to be able to revive. You need to be able to cock up and actually not have it ruin your whole game.
Oh well, you get
Yeah, you get the fairy thing, but that's rubbish.
you get a Navi thing that follows you around, going, "Hey, listener."
Yeah.
I think I looked at it and I thought, if I decide I want to play this, I have no problem paying £6 or £7 for it. That's fine, so I'll just leave it. But for the time being, there's no point, cluttering up my crazy list
Yeah.
of doom.
So much on my list. It's worrying when you realise there are games that you bought last year on the
Now
sale
all of them.
that you still haven't caught up. Well,
I haven't touched Shogun yet.
Not 2011. I mean 2010. Yeah, there are games on your 2010 list that you picked up in the sale. And it's like, I still haven't played that.
Oh, damn it. Yeah. Anyway,
There's a few indie games on my list like that. And
Well, I mean, there's
some of the Codemasters old collection.
I haven't played like 2 or 3 of those games that were in that indie pack that I bought ages ago.
No, yeah.
That might have been in 2011.
yeah, that's fair enough, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's like if they don't interest me sufficiently, and then when
You
I
buy
got,
them in a pack, and you like have a couple of games in the pack, you definitely want to pay. The other ones
Yeah.
are going to end up.
it's like what I did with the Humble Indie Bundle 4 or whatever it was that came up just before the Steam sale. Whereas like I only got that for Cave Story and something else, and it's like I'm never going to play Shank probably. Fuck it.
But it's cool that it came in a bundle because it's like easier to promote indie games when they're all packaged together, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind
Yeah,
of how
I think
it
the
works.
bundle system definitely works.
It definitely
really.
works. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
bother me that
You're never going to play some of them.
some of them. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like it's not expensive, is it?
And in a way, you've still done your bit for the indie community.
Exactly.
Which is thriving.
They might go on to make something you do want to play.
Yeah.
Those people that made those games that you can't
I'm
remember.
not necessarily sure about, yeah.
So yeah,
So we've got games to talk about.
yeah.
really.
Should we go straight into it? Because come on, there's quite a few Steam.
I've got more news.
Okay, go on.
Holy crap. We were like discussing whether or not Sega would actually go ahead and do this,
Mhm.
but Sonic 4 Episode 2 is a reality.
Oh yeah.
And
I don't care about
it
that, but yeah,
exists.
sure.
But,
Whatever.
it's-
Sure, that's good.
a lot of people share the same opinion now, partially because of Sonic Generations. It's like, I've been
Sonic
reading
Generations
around...
was better though.
Yeah, that's the problem. I've been reading around that, everyone says, well, after Sonic Generations, do we really need the retro throwback to still
That's
happen?
not properly. That's retro throwback. Apart from it, the physics still don't feel right.
They're changing it now.
Well, they are.
Yeah, it's going to be like built like practically like a new game rather than just another quick sequel. But who cares? It's more Sonic. I'm not complaining.
It's yet another episodic thing that's gone
Horribly
horribly wrong in terms of that.
But there's the other weird thing is that I couldn't help but notice this. And I mentioned this to Zach the other night when I was looking at it. There's a news post saying that the DLC of that Casino Night pinball table for Sonic Generations was supposed to come out on December 26th. That totally hasn't happened.
Oh.
It quietly hasn't happened, and like no one's noticed.
Well, everyone was a bit busy on 26th
I
of
suppose,
December.
but it still hasn't happened.
Yeah.
What's happening? Have they decided to drop the whole DLC idea from Generations?
I'm sure we'll find
completely?
Oh, the other news I heard is that PS Vita isn't selling very well.
No, it's not.
So,
Not that surprising.
yeah.
Should we talk about? Oh, I had
Launch
another
support
thought.
games and all that. It's the same thing that happened with the 3DS. Bad games at launch.
Does it have bad games at launch?
It's got a few
Has
gems.
it got Wipeout?
No.
Where it's like, why don't I lose? Yeah.
No,
Well, they're the key ones.
Yeah.
Clearly, they were for the original PSP.
No, Wipeout's definitely not out yet.
All right. Well, that'd be the key one for me.
And
Not that I'm going to buy it.
And the
but-
PS Vita
God damn, it's
Wipeout will be
tempting.
the one that will be PS3.
I
just
looked that up.
transpiring.
Oh,
away.
no, I tried looking that up as well. They did the clue is that they've said that there's... Oh, yeah, I might have been wrong on the fact that it's getting a full PS3 release.
Yeah.
But they have, in the past, mentioned the idea of crossplay.
I think it plays with Wipeout HD or something.
Well, no,
or
that's...
Fury or
it's a
whatever it is.
rumour. It's not confirmed. They've said there'll be crossplay, which suggests that there'll have to be a PS3 version of it, because... Well, presumably the game will be slightly different. The handling will be slightly different. The craft will be different because of the older setting.
Yeah, that's true.
They may say that they've bring tracks from Fury back into it, but
Well-
it's I don't know. It's a funny one. I can't help but think that it has to have a PS3 release in order for this to work properly, or they'll make new DLC for Wipeout. The Wipeout
Yeah.
on PS3.
Because that second, what was it? Wipeout
Fury.
Fury, yeah, was like almost as much game again as
Kind of.
HD,
It was
wasn't
half of the game as HD because it was a load of new tracks. It was like four.
Was it
new
tracks from Pulse?
Yeah,
Whereas,
four
whereas
tracks
HD was
from-
tracks from Pure.
That was kind of a mixture.
Right.
The whole thing is a bit of a mixture. So
Fair enough.
you get 4 tracks and I think 4 new zone landscapes.
I guess if you kind of look at their record, then they bring out games on PSP first, and then you get an equivalent but quite different, really, with
Yeah.
similar tracks on the console.
Yeah.
Maybe that will be the same with 2048. Maybe by the end of the year or next year, the PS3 or 4
I don't know.
equivalent will come out.
Yeah, PS3 is going to be with us for longer than the other
Xbox,
consoles.
yeah, that's true. But you never know. You never know.
You just don't know.
We just don't know.
We just don't know. Is it true? Is it false? We just don't know.
Yes. So yes. Enough with the news, I think.
Any other news?
Oh, I was about to say, should we talk about justifying some of our opinions about the game of the year? Like, have you had any
What do you
regrets or like mind changes since then?
I did have a thought of another category, but I can't remember what it was. A comedy one. I can't remember what it was.
We did have as I mentioned to the guys earlier today, we did have a comment from friend of the show, Matt Macon,
Oh, yeah.
who commented that he wasn't so sure that Assassin's Creed Revelations was the laziest sequel of the year.
Well, he said
Well, because he's now played that and Modern Warfare and decided with Modern Warfare.
as lazier.
Yeah.
Well, I think we had a good explanation by saying that
They tried very hard to make it the lazy sequel.
to make it exactly the same as the previous game, and that deserves, well, at least not calling them lazy.
Yeah.
You should just call them. God, just call them names. Call them
Don't call them anything.
Just don't call them lazy.
Don't talk about them at all.
Inefficient.
The best friends.
They spent a very long time doing nothing.
Oh, that's true, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, no regrets. Quite a few people seem to have sided with Portal 2 on the old Game of the Year. The British ones, more British people seem to magazines and.
I think that's probably understandable because of the sort of heavy emphasis on Wheatley.
Yeah, but Americans like stupid English accents as well.
I don't know if it's Wheatley is the reason. Although that's an interesting theory.
Yeah, Brits like Brits.
Yeah. I think it got Eurogamer Game of the Year.
Yeah,
So that's pretty good.
They got a few other places as well. The sort of curveball this year, and I normally respect their opinion about things quite heavily. I'm not sure I agree with their review scores, but game trailers was a bit strange this year.
What did they do?
They went very Uncharted heavy.
All right.
They gave that Game of the Year. They also gave that Best Graphics of the Year, which I'm not sure I agree with.
Yeah. What did we give it to?
We gave it to Dirt.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty good. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure they were, as actual Game of the Year, because I think it falls under the category of an improvement, but not by much. It's still fantastic, but we've been through that dance.
Yeah. It did seem just watching you play that opening section. I don't know. It's not any less linear than 2.
Oh god,
it just felt a bit.
It was
more
more
linear.
well, presumably for
more
the start of the game.
You were in a tunnel.
Exactly.
Like, you don't really have much
That's true.
choice.
That's true.
You went in like an ancient ruin or something.
I know.
It's the start of the game. Like the next place you go is like the burning house. After that section, which is still quite linear, but has the deception of not feeling it.
Of it being you could go in any room.
You can see down that corridor, but you can't get there because there's a wall of fire. Oh no, how convenient.
But with that opening section, they even did the classic kind of old sort of Halo and other old games trick of like you run through this section and then you run all the way back, so reuse the level geometry,
but have something change.
Yeah, have something change.
In this case, fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of fire.
Well, that's cool.
And pieces falling off.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, that's fine. It's not lazy. I wouldn't call them lazy.
No, if anything, it's slightly clever in order for it to work.
I quite
properly.
like that.
Yeah, because you do.
So you're
take
familiar
a
with the
route.
environment, but this time you're fighting.
You've got to do something else.
Oh, yeah. So that
Well, it was like it was a classic like that where you're the very first bit in the underground tunnels where you come into that weird underground train station, like 1800 train station or something. It's like, look at all these convenient chest-high piles of objects. Why are there enemies here right now?
It's like Mass Effect 2, isn't it? It's like, look at all these chest-high stuff.
Oh, yeah, they might put it there so when you are in a fight, that the stuff in the fight doesn't look out of place.
That's true, but then there was a fight there.
But yeah, that's true, yeah. But I kind of, the way it's done in Uncharted is kind of cool, because it lets you sort of take in the surroundings for a bit, rather than just have, fight
cool.
in it, and then you have a fight in it.
Yeah.
It's fair enough.
Which is kind of neat.
Oh man, that was the worst in the Halo 1, it's a great game, but it was a bit ridiculous how they used that entire level backwards. 2 betrayals. It's just exact reverse of Assault on the Control Room, except this time you can like fly around and stuff.
Yeah, you take shortcuts, so you're not taking the exact same.
But it is that level is long ass.
Yeah,
anyway.
very long. And the second version's even harder, isn't it?
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Which reminds me, at some point in this year, I will be playing Halo Anniversary Edition.
The exact same game.
Woo! Yeah. But
didn't you just play like
we did? Yeah, last year, me and Zach
did
go through Halo on Legendary.
Are you going to go straight to Legendary on Anniversary?
I don't know. We might just flash it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Bash through it in,
we
like,
could try
hardcore
doing
with-
legendary again.
Well, it's not like it'd be any harder.
It's the same game.
Yeah, just prettier and with stuff to find that wasn't in the original.
Or maybe it will be harder. Maybe enhanced graphics actually...
That's true.
Yeah, maybe it'll be harder
Like-
to see what the hell.
Well, there'll be where there's foliage, there will be actual more foliage.
That's true. But it'll be more... I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it'll be more transparent or something? Or
Well,
things will
presumably
glow more?
there'll be more glowing and shit, so that
Yeah,
might make
more
it easier
bloom.
in some other ways.
You can actually see the plasma grenades a bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know, those were fairly obvious in Halo 1 because they were the only bright blue thing.
Well, they didn't have that electric effect that they sort of gained.
Put into 2,
Yeah.
That was one of the best things about 2's graphics, I thought. Those effects. Because otherwise I thought they kind of dropped the ball. They looked a bit lame. Anyway.
Well,
That's an old argument.
New Mombasa wasn't
Yeah.
that great looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole game was a bit weird. Anywho, games we have.
I think we're done with news. Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to go first? It's a race.
Tell you what, I'll take the ball.
Oh,
Boo!
Pitch to the post.
Yeah. Oh, where to start? I suppose I should get the shit out of the way first.
How many games do you actually have to go through here? Because it's like there was Christmas presents and shit to deal with, and
I've got about 3. I
Okay.
think 3 major titles.
I think that's how many I have, but none of them are new.
Yeah.
For various reasons, which I'll get to.
Possibly more, but there's not much to say. I've been playing Outland, and there's not much to say about that. It's still good. It hasn't really changed much. I've got all the abilities now, so I can do pretty much anything the game has to offer. And it is getting hard. Some of the jumps are just really irritating, often because of the problem that Zach kind of disliked. I think you mentioned it about Sonic, in that you don't like enemies on the edges of platforms.
Oh, where it's like, if you don't hit them, you die, and then you can't do a little mini jump on the edge of the platform because they're too close and they just immediately hit you.
Yeah, exactly. So Outland does have that slight problem on occasion, where it's like, there's stuff on the edge of the platform, I can't actually jump there without getting hurt. God damn. At least it doesn't kill you quite so badly in Outland. You just
Well, yeah, it's like Sonic, you go flying backwards when you
Yeah.
get hit, which is, you can't go through them.
you just lose a point of health and go, ugh. In Outland. So yeah, I'm about 75, maybe 80% of the way through that now. So yeah, just got the last bit to do.
Is that percentage through the game or percentage collecting everything?
Not through the campaign. Yeah, I'll have to return to it afterwards to get the Chivos for finding everything, which I'll be able to do now I have all the abilities. Yeah, so we're playing that. Yeah, let's get the crap out of the way, as I said. I started with the good. That wasn't crap, by the way. That was good. Outland's good. I finished in Timeshift
Oh, yeah.
in my retro phase after my brother picked it up
So
for me
retro.
for a couple of quid off Tesco Direct. Yeah. It's quite retro. I forget what it... I don't know. I didn't look when it was made. It was
Like
quite
2
old
or 3
now.
years ago or something.
Longer than that, probably.
I don't know. It seemed like
Be like
2007.
feel like 5 years, I reckon. Yeah.
I guess that is 5 years.
2007, yeah. Yeah.
Now.
Well, my initial thoughts are it's a weird game, because I kind of think they pull off the shooting quite well. It's it doesn't feel too bad, the time mechanics kind of work. My biggest problem with it is that the game doesn't really get harder as you go through it. You get a couple more enemy types, towards the end you start finding enemies wearing time-slowing suits. So they run around like motherfuckers until you slow down time yourself, and then they behave like normal enemies. But they do a quick burst and then stop, and then that stop is the window of opportunity.
Cool.
And it's they're kind of cool. And eventually you come across teleporting time-stopping dudes that, for some reason, unlike you, they don't think to do something while they're teleporting naturally. You can obviously manipulate the world when you're in time stop. Shoot a few guys in the face, and then time catches up with them, and they go, blah! But the time stop enemies, they don't really do that. They just appear and zap you with an electro gun. and when they're zapping you, that's when you stop time and go, haha, I'm loading your face. So they're quite easy to face as well. But other than that, it really doesn't mix it up with the enemies, which is a bit of a problem. It's it's just kind of, I'm still fighting guys, still fighting dudes, still fighting some dudes. Yeah, not really it. It doesn't change throughout the duration of the game, which is, nah. And it starts feeling quite long when it wasn't, really. It was about your normal 8-hour adventure, and, it felt longer by the end of it. It's but for the wrong reasons. And, yeah, this is I should say spoiler alert, but I don't think anyone will care about this. It's the entire game has this kind of what starts out as such a potential for actually having a good story. Like, the lab you're in gets exploded by the other scientist who has stolen the other time suit, and then you go into this alternate time stream in order to stop him in whatever world he has. You just end up, for some reason, joining these rebel guys that seem to be facing him, and it's like, oh, okay, why not? We'll do that.
Yeah.
And throughout the campaign, you get these little flashbacks of, like, the suit at one point says, initiating neural stimuli, as if it's the suit trying to make you remember what happened or something. And you get these little flashbacks of, little hints that Crone was up to no good, or little hints that you're giving some girl a job of some kind while she's laying next to you naked. And
right.
You don't get to see any boobs. She's just there. And it sort of goes, I'll take you up on your offer, kind of thing. And then it's like suggesting perhaps that your character has a somewhat shady past. None of which ever gets resolved, explained, or come to anything, because the end of the game is literally a fight over not a chest-high wall, but a wall that's about head height, of you firing long-range shots at some glowy things which are shooting at you on a big walking tank thing.
Right.
You do that, that explodes a bit, and then you walk down another corridor, and then you're standing on this tiny little balcony with a gun on it, at which you shoot at another glowing thing that is sort of shooting at you but isn't really a threat. The big walkie thing explodes, and then it goes to a cutscene in which you see Crone crawling about on the floor, sort of injured from his big tanky thing, and you just walk up and shoot him in the head, game ends. That is literally it.
Okay.
It is the shittest ending for a video game I think I've seen in a very, very long time.
Impressive.
It does take the award for shittest ending I've played this year.
Especially for a game based around time manipulation that can have some crazy cool ending.
Well, yeah, it's sort of...
It's like, no, bang.
Okay, there's a tiny bit more, in fairness. Like, your suit then is able to... Because you apparently acquire the origin drive from the your opponent's suit.
Right.
Which then allows you to go back to the main time stream you were in and stop the bomb from exploding the lab. Except then at that point, your suit then says something on, like, I can't remember if it's talking about a paradox or something occurring. So it goes, oh, I'm jumping you to safety. And then the game ends. So you still don't know what the fuck's going on. So you in theory save this lab, but then you're still fucked.
Right.
But... So it's a shit ending, shit ending, and none of it is explained, and there'll never be a sequel because it didn't sell, and because they were too shit. I don't know. It's a shame. It had one of those games that started out as potentially having promise, and I remember the demo being quite intriguing when it first came out, and it just didn't go anywhere at all, which is a shame. But then again, we don't know what happened to Saber. And, Sierra as a publisher went down the shitter.
Yes.
Apparently it's Visceral were involved as well, which is still about. Visceral Games. I can't remember what else they've done recently, but they were involved in the development. Not only in a minor role, but they were sort of there.
Cool.
So, yeah. Yeah.
That's Timeshift.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I was sort of expecting as much, but yeah.
It's all about the combat there.
Yeah.
And not about the
stupid story.
Yeah. It's okay, but I just wish the combat was mixed up a bit,
Yeah.
You could argue that games like Halo don't really do much to mix up the combat, but for some
get
reason
it right,
they do. Yeah. It's like it feels fresh for most of the game, and it's...
Right. Halo's got quite a few different enemy types, actually.
Yeah.
If you actually think about it.
Oh, yeah. It was better than Grunt with gun, Grunt with slightly bigger gun.
Yeah.
Sniper Grunt. There you go, that's pretty much it.
The same with Call of Duty. Dude with a gun. Another dude with a gun. Dude with a fucking RPG.
I know, but somehow in that setting it sort of makes more sense and
well,
quite so egregious. But
it's just boring though. Anyway.
It's because it's a war. There's lots of dudes.
I know.
They're all going to have guns.
But somehow there's something about it that doesn't make it feel like a problem. Whereas in Timeshift it feels like a problem.
Yeah. It's got some dynamics to it.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I think it's because the combat,
story.
Well, and the combat in Timeshift is less cover-based than like modern shooters, I guess. In modern shooter, you're popping out of cover all the time. Take a shot, get down. Take a shot, get down.
This is
stuff.
more
Whereas this, run up, shoot him in the face.
Awesome.
Yeah, it plays a lot like an old school shooter.
Cool.
Because it probably is a bit old school with regenerating health. Though
Doesn't have a cover mechanic.
No.
That's all the key elements. You can't snap the cover somehow.
You can't do that in Call of Duty, and yet you still have to spend quite a lot of your time behind cover, otherwise you'd be screwed.
Yeah.
Which is annoying. Anyway.
Moving on.
Moving on.
In addition, played a bit more LA Noire.
Ooh, how's that going?
La Noire.
La Noire.
La Noire.
How's it going in the world of Los Angeles, 1940?
Yeah, I'm still enjoying it. I did. I've spent some time doing a few more cases. I'm now on Homicide Desk. I'm playing through it quite slowly, admittedly, because it's one of those. I'm trying to play it with Gnome. Present.
It's a good one to take your time with.
Yeah, she is enjoying it. I think we were right about that. That it's, I don't want to play it without her there because I'm slightly shit at it, as it turns out. I'm not very good at doing the interviews at all. Really, we do well if we get 50% of the questions right.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard. Harder than I expected, really. And it's both a good thing, but again, it leads back to the problem I've mentioned before, is that I really don't like the gamification of it. I don't like the reports. I don't like the fact that the game is egging you on to 100% everything. It's like, I don't think it doesn't suit what the game is trying to convey in terms of a story. It's not about that. I can see why that makes sense for things like the street crimes, where there is basically one outcome from most of them. And it's like they're just there as little asides, or perhaps the vehicle collection seems completely pointless.
Yeah, I didn't even bother.
I don't think the landmark thing seems a bit unnecessary as well. It's like obvious throwbacks from the GTA thing, I guess, that, Rockstar's influence.
Well, I think that was just mainly because they wanted to show off their city that they spent so much time building.
It's still boring.
Well, yeah, but it is. I think it's boring, but it is quite a good.
I know what you mean. It's quite a good representation. I did spend things.
Because I don't know Los Angeles.
No,
New York, I would recognise quite a lot of the places. But
I did make some observations that driving past, there does seem to be quite a number of unique buildings.
Things
like that. It's not like even the ones that you don't really get involved with. Kind of every now and then, there are specialty
stuff.
Yeah, and it's like for that side of it, that they have to be commended. But
do they have any in the game anywhere? Do they have actual pictures of those places from the 1940s, so you can compare?
No.
But I have seen that on the internet.
Well, yeah, I mean, but if it was in-game, if it was like when you came to one of those landmark things and it showed you, here's what it looks like in the game, and here's an actual picture, then it'd be slightly cooler.
But that's not what the game's trying to do, surely.
Yeah, but it's just an extra. It's like concept art, except less shit.
That would be cool, I guess. I have seen that stuff on internet sites, and obviously it isn't quite right, but it's pretty close. It's like the layout, the grid is condensed. Compared to the app, it is slightly condensed.
Because I was about to say, even then, even if it is condensed, it's freaking enormous. Really.
Yeah.
The actual space that they've mapped is pretty big.
Yeah, but LA is freaking sprawling.
And even, because you can see there's a line, isn't it, where the map cuts off, and there's still more down there, but they obviously haven't rendered it. But it's I'm surprised that they did condense it actually, because it did feel just enormous to me already.
It's really big.
Yeah. An enormous sea of nothing.
Nothing, yeah. Well, that's Los Angeles, I think.
It's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll reuse the asset for something, or...
I wouldn't have thought so. I don't know.
Or maybe if they do a sequel, perhaps.
Maybe.
And keep it in LA for some reason.
What are you going to call it? San Francisco Noire or something? Or... I don't think it would work.
Noire.
Noire? Or...
Noire.
It would have to not be Noire or something.
Sorry?
But then it's like you can't. Trouble is, you've got this 1940s style city, and so you can't really set it in any other time period.
Well, no, I suppose a lot of it you only need minor adjustments to bring it up.
I don't know. Will it be interesting to see what they do with the sequel?
Yeah,
because the actual core police procedural stuff is so good. You could transfer that to virtually any time period.
Yeah, or
whatever. You could even make a freaking Sherlock Holmes game out of that stuff.
Oh man, imagine.
Anyway.
That would be probably cool, except that, of course, he doesn't really do interviews, does he? He talks at them.
That's true. Sherlock isn't that kind of
It'd be like some kind
detective.
of ridiculous... They'd have to have... It'd be ridiculous.
Everything from the scene of the crime rather than the people.
Yeah, there'd be some ridiculous examine your suspect mode where time stops or something. You have to find the individual hairs on their arm or something that say, you own 3 small dogs.
But it is funny watching detective shows. Like, I've been watching The Killing, which is a Danish one.
Yeah,
that was very popular.
Good things about that.
Very popular last year, and it's all subtitled, obviously. But every time they do that scene, which is in every detective show, where the detective is looking around and looking at things and picking them up and looking at them, I just always do this. This doesn't seem to be relevant to the case. Every time.
Or if we just, maybe.
No. Yeah, exactly. It's
It'll take a smarter guy than me to figure that one out.
because they literally do that, like turning it around in their hands.
Presumably the TVs are they don't pick up shit that's
Random
just random.
stuff, yeah.
So not every object is a Powerball, though. They don't have to.
That's true. So yeah, it is quite funny. But yeah.
But you're right. I think they could adapt it to I mentioned earlier, like a CSI license could actually work.
Potentially. But anyway, Eleanor.
Although they might have too many glass of dipping wow moments, but pretty serious game.
Bum, bum. So yeah, you liking the homicide deaths? You done a case or two?
I've done 2, I think, on homicide now. They're a little bit more. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they are more interesting than traffic. They're just they're a little bit more clean cut, I think. Almost, it's like on the traffic deaths, they kind of solve themselves, whereas on homicide, you still know the answer, but it's still kind of you doing the work to get there a bit more. They got longer, I've noticed.
Yeah, they do.
It took us like an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours to do one case.
Yeah.
And you don't want to stop halfway.
That's the thing. It's good. It is good to play over a period of time, right? But you wouldn't want to stop in the middle of a case because you'd forget all the names. I mean, it's quite confusing. Some of those plots are within those cases.
Well, there was one on involving the movie set on the traffic desk.
Oh yeah.
Possibly the last one you do on traffic, actually.
It's like the crazy action sequence at the end where you have to run around the movie set.
Yeah, and blow shit up.
Yeah.
And because there's a character in that which goes by 2 names. Is it? There's the actress has her maiden name, acting name, but she's also Miss McAfee,
right?
Which is her married name. So occasionally that gets kind of confusing because Phelps keeps referring to her as her married name, whereas everyone else calls her by her actress name. It's like, I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, it's her again.
Yeah, that could be confusing. Isn't that movie
it's weird
set
because you
for
don't
a real film?
The intolerance or something it was called in the game, but
the crazy sort of. It's like a scene where
some kind of old architecture, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like some kind of giant, I don't know, ritual setting or something, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Anyway, that is apparently a real film, which
is weirdly in the middle of right next to a road. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the strange. It's not in any sort of quiet surroundings or anything. It's like I hereby sacrifice me. No, can't do it again.
Yeah,
it's a shit location. For us.
Yeah, it'd be a terrible location
for a movie set. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. As I say, my biggest problem is the gamification still. I don't want to have to... I'd be fine with it if at the end of the case it just didn't give me a rating.
Yeah.
I don't want to know that. I'd be okay with the little hints saying, if you did this, something different would happen, because that's kind of intriguing on its own right. And
Is there enough time to just, when it says, end of case, to go off TV and then wait there for 2 minutes and then turn it back on again?
Sometimes you don't really know, maybe there's more to a case. Often you get talked to by, is it the commissioner or whatever his name is, the boss guy.
Freaking Irish dude.
Yeah, the Irish Bible dude. Who,
he's a good character.
Yeah, he's well characterised. He's quite cool. But at the same time, it's just you can sort of expect that at some point, but I want to watch this cutscene. Then it just goes, oh no.
Oh no, I didn't want to see that.
I don't care.
I don't care if I got 3 stars. Fuck you.
Just carry on the story, man. If I haven't failed out, I'd be okay, I think, with absolute failures. If you got something wrong, that is sorry, done. Do that bit again. If you fuck up the interviews, as it sometimes happens, or it takes you back. I think I'm okay with that as the game element.
Yeah, that'd be fair enough.
Yeah,
because you can fuck up the action sequences, obviously.
Yeah,
and you have to restart that bit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with that. I'm just not okay with being rated on something I sometimes couldn't really have possibly known, or that the hints are so small, perhaps, or so incredibly minute, and that it's so easy to make a mistake. And well, if you think about it, the odds of getting it right are actually quite small unless they tell the truth. If they're telling the truth, then the odds are higher than if they've made a mistake. Because if you've made a mistake, then there's always the question of, do I just doubt this, or is there or is one bit of evidence going to be true?
So you have to use that trick.
I'm not entirely sure that works all the time, because there was one I'm sure where it led me down the wrong path. Right, where he just goes, he said something, and it's I've got evidence that's related to that, and it's no, that's not right. What? Oh.
That is annoying. Yeah.
So even the trick doesn't really work.
It's worth a try anyway.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, there are a couple of occasions where
they blatantly say,
where it does, you can't prove I was there.
Yeah, okay.
There? Oh, okay, so it's got to be it's got to be a location-based clue.
Yeah, exactly. So then you can use whatever ticket stub they left behind or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I think it needs work, and just get rid of the game stuff, make it more of an experience than a game, and it will be better. I think. Get rid of as you said, get rid of those tones of correct and wrong.
Yeah. Or at least have an option. I just want to be able to turn that off, because like that fail tone on the questions just makes me want to punch my TV into bits.
Yeah, you just sort of go,
oh, fuck you. I don't even listen to what he says next, because I'm so pissed off with...
Well, because it's not going to be relevant, is it?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if they were going for... If I want the real experience, I don't want to know whether I've got it right or wrong.
Because you wouldn't know.
Yeah. Perhaps later on, as part of the case report, perhaps that's be where it would show you, but not as part of the core experience, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know. Still good, but you have to train yourself to not care.
Exactly. That's the thing. So let's say Noire.
Yeah. I should probably mention Sonic Generations. Because I haven't got massively far in it. Like, I haven't played all the stages yet.
Not much to do.
I know, but I've been doing a lot of the challenges as I go, rather than coming back to them.
Right.
So, like, I've done most of the challenges on the first 3 levels, and it's like...
I popped in and did the first 2 stages, or whatever.
Friggin' awesome.
It looks amazing, and I'm just terrible at Sonic. I'm really bad at it. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Well, it's like when I tried doing the Sky Sanctuary doppelganger race, where it gives you like where the actual time to beat is harsh if you want the S rank. It's like to get S ranks on those races actually requires you to do the stage in like an optimal route. Really, it's like, but in a way it kind of shows you like how many routes there are. Like there's tons on Sky Sanctuary.
Well, I guess there's probably as many in any other level. It's just they're a bit more obvious in Sky Sanctuary, because normally the Sky Sanctuary ones are like left or right rather than above each other.
Yeah,
so you see them more.
I don't know. I think that so far, I think that's been the level that's taxed me the most, because the levels, to get the routes right has been tricky, but at the same time, really quite awesome when you get it right.
Well, it's also the first level where lots of instant death. Because it's just above the sky. I did
have a couple of issues with it, and especially in modern mode, seeing as they're kind of traditional for the Sonic series, I guess. It's like, there's some bits where in order to get the optimal route, you have to bounce off a few enemies. And, like, there's a room with a fountain in the middle.
Yeah.
And there's a route at the top of the fountain, and you can just bounce up the enemies to do it quicker.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that sometimes those enemies have, like, missile launchers on their back, and if the homing attack hits the missile part of them, it hurts you. And of course, when you're travelling at light speed and you're trying to do a quick run, you just want to go bounce, 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 and it's like, oh, that bounce has killed me.
Well, it's because you have to do it as soon as you possibly can, because otherwise that will happen. If you do it the instant you possibly, like the moment it locks, if you're doing it literally as fast as you can, then
you're okay.
If you miss it by like a split second, you die. Well, get hit, and then it's like, oh, you ruined your run.
I just find it frustrating because it's not easy enough to see. I think that's like, weirdly, like this always happens with Sonic games, it's like, especially in the modern Sonic stuff. It's not so bad in the classic stuff, but the enemies ruin the modern stuff pretty much. I just want to do the run. Like, I don't want to, like, if it was like those zappy things that they used to have, or like the flyer things that sort of went when they were, dangerous to hit.
There's still some of them, obviously.
Yeah, but that would be more obvious than having an impossible to see bit of missile poking out of their backpack. It's
not meant to be a thing that's to stop you from homing to them. It's just meant to be their attack. It's just the fact that you have to get there before they realise that you're there, so they don't start doing their attack.
Yeah, but it's just you can't tell. Is my problem with whether it's going to hit or not.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have enough time to react to that anyway. You can't stop yourself from homing at that point. You've already started.
But that, again, the timing is so awkward, and you have no control of it. But no, that's the thing. I found myself like on my quickest runs, on the ones where I got there the fastest. Actually, I think that was where it went wrong the most for me, because I'd get there, go bang, 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 and it's like, oh, and the last one would always kill me. The only way I actually found out how to do that bit was to actually stop and time it. And it's like, damn it, I don't want to be doing that. That shouldn't be how I have to do it. But every other time, it would just murder me.
I eventually got through there every time. You don't have to hit all 3 of those enemies. You have to hit 2.
Yeah.
That's obviously if you try and do all 3, it will fire.
Yeah.
But the other thing to remember is that it doesn't matter. It's the timing isn't based on the overall time of the level. It's based on when those enemies spawn, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you get to that range.
But I don't know, I just couldn't find a way of doing it that wasn't dangerous without stopping. And it's
Yeah, I just always have that one bit is you just have to do that at incredible maximum speed. You have to even boost down that tiny bit of the room just to get there quicker.
It just felt too much a little bit, I know it's not random, but it had that feeling of it, if you know what I mean. And it's like, which is a shame, because in actual fact, that's probably the only real flaw I found. Oh no, actually, there was a second bit in that level that was a bit annoying. When you go in that room, and that room,
right?
And there's a few enemies in that you bounce across, and then there's a route that goes up slightly higher in that, and then you end up doubling back on yourself over a crumbling floor.
Maybe
the bit with the
right, yeah, I know.
And
yeah,
if you're quick enough, you can sort of find your, you don't have to be quick enough if you just know where the floors.
Yeah, if you just don't jump on the bits that are going to collapse.
Yeah, then you can sort of make your way across the slightly faster route without having to go down to the teleporter that was actually right by the door you came in on. Yeah. Except for the fact that I tried to sort of cheat that, and just as I come through the door,
stop and
go on the teleporter, which isn't there until you hit the spring. It's like, oh cock, you've tricked me. And I've tried to actually follow the path, and it's like for some reason this thing just magically appears.
Well, maybe it's not magical. Maybe maybe it does come out somewhere and fall from the ceiling.
I think that's a bit of a weird design.
I never stopped to think that was actually above that bit. It was just two different parts of the level.
Yeah, it took me a while to realise, but it's like, it would have been better if it was. I think rather than. Because I tried to trick it, and it's like, so I've done this run, and I'm doing really quick, and I think, right, I can shave a few seconds off here by not doing that part of the level, I'll just skip it on the teleporter. Oh, which isn't there. Fuck, run ruined, do it again.
Weird.
But apart from that, Sky's Entry is such a cool level.
Well, it has awesome music, of course.
Yeah.
With modern remix.
And it is, I like the routes, and I like the discovery part of that.
Well, I'm not sure I like the routes that much. There is that level is specifically the one that has those problematic routes. It's like that last fucking route with the zip wire, where you have to jump off one zip wire onto another one. That's fucking impossible to pull off, and it's right at the end of the level. So if you cock it up, you ruin your whole run, you have to do the whole thing again.
No, I didn't find that one too bad. The worst that happened for me on that bit was when I tried to jump off, but it homed onto the rail
the one
just
you were
left,
already on.
and you can somehow catch up to the zip wire that you'd sort of just left.
Well, sometimes. Because sometimes you just home onto it forever, and then go, I don't
know, I kind of I thought it was cool. Just the effect of it, but I can see why it's annoying because it's at the end of the level. But.
And it's a really annoying sort of time. That's one thing where you have to resist the temptation to try and do it fast. You have to, even though you're over a giant bottomless pit, you have to just kind of trust that you're going to make it and just kind of jump and then keep holding it, don't homing attack yet until you're far enough away from the other one. And then homing attack onto the thing.
Yeah.
It's super dangerous.
I know, it's cool, but it's like, it's got me into that bug where you're trying perfecting your runs, but the doppelganger, weirdly it's in the doppelganger challenges where it gives you the ranks based on time, with the harsh requirements, and it's like, so you end up doing it in those, you easily beat the doppelganger by fucking miles, but, that sort of forces you to pick the best route. I kind of wish that they'd put that ranking system into the stages normally, rather than making it
time trials.
Yeah, I know, but it was so easy to get, and I want something to aim for, and time trials doesn't give you
it has a leaderboard.
Yeah, I know, but I want a par time, something, some sort of guidance, and I wish they'd put that on the normal stages as well. Or at least made the normal stages not quite so easy to S rank. Because even if you have a shit run, generally that's an S rank. There you go, have it. As long as you didn't die, S rank.
Yeah,
which is a bit weird. Or you get an insanely good one. So it kind of ruins the sort of just normal playthroughs of the levels.
Because it's too easy to S rank.
Yeah. But those doppelganger challenges are cool. Because of the harsh limits.
I don't think I can't remember what ranks I got on most of those. I don't think I ever really got B's, so good enough.
Shittest challenge so far has to be Amy's fucking spinning top. That just doesn't work right. It's like the spinning top mechanic. I know they've tried to get some of the spinning top mechanics from Sonic 3, I guess, from Marble Zone.
Yeah,
but it just doesn't behave right on.
Well, it doesn't behave the same.
No, it doesn't. You don't get the thing where you hit the floor and it goes. Pew!
Well, no, you don't get that. But also the way it accelerates and decelerates isn't the same.
Well, no, it's not. It's just not right. If you're running in one direction, you think in order to, if you're running one direction, you start raising up and going in the direction. Excuse me, you're running. And it's like, I want to stop in order to fall down. So you jam on the brakes like you do normally. You push the other direction to force Sonic to
Yeah.
Stop. Oh, what that actually does is give you a sudden kick upwards rather than actually slowing the ball down. So you have to manage this weird sudden kick up as you stop, and then run in the other direction to change direction. But then force yourself to stop. It's like, if you kicked it in the other direction, you then don't want to start running because then that also brings it up. So it's like going down, making it go down is kind of tricky unless you just hands off everything.
Well, you just have to you have to sort of semi-learn the level and just drift. You have to know where you're going ahead of time so you can just drift it down.
I just think the controls for that are overly complex. They're just overly shit.
Well, it's like, because you know how to do it in the Sonic 3. It'd be much easier if it was that control.
The Sonic 3 system works better.
Well, yeah.
It's like, yeah. So I thought there are ways of making it go faster as well, isn't there? Like, if you, catch a downward sloping wall,
yeah,
you just bump against it and go, whoop! For some reason.
Yeah, cunning plans.
Yeah, and you get a little bit more speed out of it. It's just a bit weird. I don't know. I think that's the only challenge I've had problem with so far.
You haven't got to the Infector one, though. The legitimately worst thing in the entire game.
Okay, I'll look forward to that.
What level is that on? That's on...
the seaside, isn't it?
No, it's on Spagonia.
Oh, Spagonia, okay. So, I've got another boss fight to do first then.
Yeah. That challenge is the worst. It took forever. It's retarded. And it's also not really anything to do with Sonic.
there was another one on Sky Sanctuary that was kind of a bit weird, with lots of shooting enemies. Like a modern stage with lots of enemies.
Yeah.
That was a bit weird.
Well, it's just like...
There was one jump in particular that didn't work very well. Like, it flung you against a wall with those vertical bars that you grab onto to move up and down. Except for the fact that if, in the process of getting flung across there, you have the ability to home onto an enemy.
Yeah.
If you get that right, fine. If you get it wrong, the game takes control away from you for a few seconds. You end up just sort of on the spot, bouncing on a cloud, without being able to control it. And if you get the timing just wrong, because they fire quite often in that level, you go, hit the bullet, bounce up, hit the next bullet, instant death.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a bit shit.
I think I vaguely...
There's like a bug there.
Well, it's not really a bug, it's just like badly designed bit of level.
Yeah.
Where they got their timing precisely wrong.
I also found a couple of places where the clouds and platforms sort of, you fall through rather than landing on.
Don't know if
I had a few glitches on that one. But, yeah. The rest of the game's been solid, but just those little bits have been a bit weirdly...
They're all on one level.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's strange because when you put it that way, it's like Sky Sanctuary, my favourite level so far, also the glitchiest.
Excellent.
which is weird.
In a relatively polished game.
Yeah.
By Sonic standards.
Well, by Sonic standards, it's fucking mint.
Mint. Minty fresh.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. I think it's excellent.
Cool.
Solid. Trying to think what else I played. I think that might be it on my main ones.
That was your 3.
Yeah, that was my big 3.
My main game.
I did give a couple of minutes of Dirt 3 a try, because I was...
You did try it?
Yeah, because I basically sort of said to myself, I still want to get through everything.
Yeah, I saw you playing Dirt 2.
I played Dirt 2 for hours, and I still only have 71% completion. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake! So I thought, right, I'll give Dirt 3 a little good,
How do
a
the
little
graphic
go.
settings get set?
Yeah, I can. Well, I can't
Can you
totally max them because there are some things that are DX11.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't go up to Ultra on every
yeah.
setting, and it greys them out annoyingly. Right. But there's a, so at least I know they're there. But I can't. Yeah, I at least try it. It does look good.
Yeah.
I think we can safely say that still probably deserves it. And the rally is nice. I have to say, because the first thing it makes you do is have a rally in Finland. Fantastic!
Awesome!
Like, Finland,
that's exactly what I want!
Yeah, and one thing I will say, I don't think that they've got the balance, the sound of the co-driver isn't as good as it was in Dirt 2.
Mm.
His voice is too, there's too much, middle and bass on it. It doesn't feel
right.
if you know what I mean, it doesn't stand out as much as it did in
yeah,
It doesn't sound too much like the radio chatter,
That's true.
It's harder to hear than it has been.
I guess it would be quite hard to hear your co-driver in an actual radio.
Well, true.
Well, no, but you have those helmets where it's super tight on your ears where the headset is.
Oh, right, okay. And he has a...
They don't talk to each other normally. That'd be
yeah. Fair enough.
40! Medium loud!
Yeah, I guess.
Because there's no soundproofing in rally cars, obviously.
Caution! Over crest!
I guess the guy has to...
There's a crash!
The microphone has to be tuned to only pick up the guy's voice rather than the car around him.
Yeah.
And then he can talk relatively normally.
I might try the woman. I know she's American, and it's totally not Scottish. And it's like, you have to have a Scottish coach.
Well, one of the things they said on the Bombcast was they were disappointed that, because I didn't know this, but apparently Dirt 2 had a British woman option.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
And apparently they really liked her for some reason, because she was like comedy and British. It's like, this game is clearly not as good because it hasn't got the comedy British
Hasn't got the
woman.
British lady.
But I just stick with Scottish
man.
bloke. Scottish bloke just sounds like Rally to me.
Yeah, Scottish co-driver is Rally.
Is
isn't
Rally,
it?
yeah. Ever since Nicky Grist or whatever his name
Nicky
was.
McGrist.
Yeah. Who's Nicky Grist? Is that somebody? Yeah, never mind.
Probably that one. He's like the anti-Scottish. he's the English co-driver.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no,
yeah.
It's good. It's good. I see what you mean about the store being integrated in the game. That threw me completely.
It's a
when
bit
I saw it
weird.
the first time because it's like, oh, focus. I'll have that.
oh sweet. Oh,
yeah,
damn.
and it's like, and then it does have a big buy sticker, but I
Yeah.
thought that was going to be an in-game.
That's the
Like
thing. There's no in-game
using
money.
the game points or something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, wait, I can't. Oh shit, that's taking me to the marketplace. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
Fuck you. Yeah.
That is, yeah, I don't like that. Apparently Forza does that as well.
Oh really?
In Forza 4, it shows you, here's what you could have if you had megabucks.
You see why we
It's-
know why they did it, but still. It's kind
Yeah,
of like-
it's just, I'd rather they put it at the end of the, they don't even put it at the end of the list, do they? It's sort of like the cars are slotted in where they would be if you
well, they
buy
would be
them.
if you had them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like one time I had it not log into the service properly to figure out what the DLC was, and all my like triangles, all my pyramids, you know, they all turned properly gold, like I'd actually completed them.
Oh.
Because I had.
Interesting.
And then it reconnected, and then no, you haven't
No, you
completed
haven't
it.
completed them because there's
You haven't-
DLC
you
events.
haven't bought the Monte Carlo track pack.
Oh.
Oh, God damn,
That is frustrating.
That is
They
annoying.
shouldn't do that.
it's annoying. Anyway,
It's a minor point though against the game, I think, but
there's
it
quite a lot
is
of content
frustrating
already in that
Yeah.
game, and quite a few good cars and nice models.
Yeah. Yeah. It's as you say, a minor point, but it's annoying nonetheless. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
To do it next time.
But yeah, it is quite nice. Yeah, the second thing you get to do is a really simple rallycross track in the rain, isn't it? And it's like, oh, you get to see some rain. It's not bad.
Not bad.
It's like, especially when you can see the little droplets on your hood.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I play on bonnet cam. It's
Oh,
like,
cool.
yeah, you can see all the droplets on the hood, and it's like, oh, that's quite nice. I should have tried it with the helmet cam, really, to see if the rain hits the windscreen. And
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it does.
yeah.
And
They would just not have an effect from that. That'd be
Well, no, they've had it in games for years, haven't they? Where they've had some sort of wiper effect, haven't they?
it's just how good is it now?
It's like Colin Cray 4's one was awesome for the time.
Yeah, that was pretty. Colin McRae 4 was generally a good-looking game for the time.
Well, yeah.
I remember its representation of Greece being, wow, that actually looks like Greece. And it's like, I've been there, and it's like the way the sand hangs in the air a little bit over like the dusty trails. It's like, oh, that's pretty accurate. It felt like the location, and it's like
That's one thing that would be good to put into a new Dirt game, because Greece was the first level on the original Colin McRae.
Yeah.
And it's been in subsequent ones, but Grecian rally tracks are pretty cool.
Yeah,
They have, I guess they have sort of,
they've
Africa,
kind of been
they've got
unique
Kenya
feel.
for but it's not quite the same as...
Yeah, Greece and Australia were always kind of the unique ones, weren't they? Because
Yeah,
Australia
okay.
was very orange.
Yeah.
Well, you mean unique as in what they look like rather than here's gravel and here's more gravel?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could sort of tell. Well, and the Australia levels had the pipeline sections as well, which were kind of unique.
Well, here's a long straight.
With some jumpy bits.
Because Dirt has obviously got this one's got Michigan for the Americans and stuff, which is
Yeah.
cool, but...
I was a bit disappointing actually in Dirt 2, because Utah comes up quite late.
Right.
And it's one of the best looking levels, and the tracks are actually really cool, but there's none of them, because it's the last bit of the game, so they've
Yeah.
done one of every type.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's a couple of Trailblazer levels which are a bit longer, but yeah, they're like, oh, damn it, you didn't make use of possibly your best looking area.
On the other hand, that area is kind of featureless by default. It's like
Well, you go through there's the big old rock crap.
yeah, but you either have vertical sheer rock face or flat land. There's no hills really.
That's true. That is Utah, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know, I think it's cool. It's one of the best looking areas of the game, and they didn't use it that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's good. I'll give it a proper play.
Give it a proper play.
Perhaps when I finish Dirt 2 in a year's time.
Right. Moving on.
Yeah, I'll relinquish.
Who wants to go next?
Have
You
it.
wanna go?
What time is it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Exactly Burgess time.
Is that good this time?
Da, 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 da.
Deploy.
So,
Deploy the Burgess. Oh, I wanted to say that comedy thing that I looked up about your Skyrim play.
We'll get to that because the Skyrim will be mentioned. But first we need to talk, not really need to talk about very much. In fact, it'll probably be mostly Skyrim, but like over the ridiculousness of the sale, I've got now Dirt 3 to do and X3.
Yeah.
I haven't done either of them yet. So it's like, new games I got not bothered.
I've got The Witcher 2 I haven't touched.
Yeah.
I haven't
So
installed.
you picked that up in the end, did you?
Yeah, or no,
I
Zach got
got
it
it
for
for
me.
you.
Ah, I see. Good
Yeah.
choice.
But so what I actually did was, well, the first thing was because Space Cam got on a sale. Only one more person on my friends list actually purchased it and started playing it, but that also prompted one other guy to start playing it, and then another dude, and then me, and it was like, fuck yeah, scoreboards!
Space Cam is taking over.
I could actually have some scores to compare about. And then we had an epic science battle where it was like, I beat your score on this level, and I'm like, oh, what? So I went there and made my result, and somehow scored exactly the same number of cycles taken. And it's like, well, that's incredibly unlikely.
Right.
It's like 3,700 something cycles, and we scored exactly the same time period to the cycle. And I was like, wait, I can move this reactor like one square and make the pipe slightly shorter, and then I'll beat you by 2 cycles.
Yes!
But then he, changed his pipe layout and beat me by a couple more cycles, and I was like, okay, I'm done for the day. And then when I came back the next day, I was like, oh wait, I thought of a better way to do this. 900 cycles faster. Eat it. So yeah, science, Space Game, lots of that.
Not real science.
As much real science as you go to
I'm
get,
trying
really.
to optimize your freaking code and,
Yep.
C
Yeah.
or something.
But
Or
with slightly
freaking
more
binary.
If you could visualize code in the way that Space Cam does, that would probably make it much easier.
Well,
to optimize.
see, that's what you need, really. You need code visualization. That'd be sweet.
See the pipelines.
There was this thing.
Actually, the trick to that would be see the pipelines you're interested in.
Yeah,
The
you need to
difficult
turn
bit-
shit off.
Yeah, the difficult bit with code debug is like I don't want, there's this neat feature that I found out earlier this year, earlier last year on Visual Studio, where you can actually get it to build an architecture graph, so you can see how everything links to each other.
And it makes a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
mess.
Yeah, it's a complete horrible mess. It's just wires
It's meant to look
everywhere.
like UML, right? Is it UML?
No, it's just an inbuilt architecture diagram. It's not really
Oh, right.
UML. It kind of, you can open stuff up and
Because you
sort
can
of
do
see the
class
interlinks
diagrams and stuff.
Yeah, you can, but it's
Anyway,
but it's
sorry.
it exists.
It's
but
probably
it's all
not
over. It's all over the place, and it's like, I'd quite like to be able to simplify that somehow.
Yeah. It's I saw this thing on Stack Overflow where they had it in C, it was just they were incrementing a variable or something, and they did it in a loop, and then they did it in 2 loops, and 2 loops was faster. And they were like, why?
What?
And then it turned out to be to do with caching in Intel processors. Or
Oh,
some
interesting.
obscure, weird, dumb thing. Anyway.
Or it
yeah.
might be like MMX or something.
Yeah, it
like
was-
old MMX tech kicking in.
It was some retarded reason why
Yeah,
it was
that's-
faster. Because you
that's-
just look at it, it's like, this is the simplest thing ever. Why the hell isn't the one
Yeah,
that
there's
is
something
faster
about it,
too?
sometimes if you've got a loop and it runs for long enough, the processor sort of notices and starts
Optimizing
reusing,
it.
well, it doesn't have to change the instruction set on part of the processor, so
Yeah.
it just runs the same one several times, and you save cycles,
Yeah.
by, not
Yeah.
having to change that part of the processor, so it runs quicker.
That's the kind of craziness. Anyway,
Multiple small loops are sometimes better than a single big loop.
indeed.
Because of that reason.
I was just trying to think if that was the same for Space Game, but I'm not sure. If
Probably not.
I mean, if you run 2 loops on top of each other, well, that's parallel.
That's parallel, yeah.
It's like you double the amount of symbols, but you can make it use less cycles. Success.
Wow, there's threading in...
Yeah, multi-threading. There's 2 threads.
Oh, you can only do 2 threads?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Fair
The
enough.
red track and the blue track. And there's actually weird, even deeper sort of weirdly specific rules in Space Game. Like, if you have the 2 things running at the same time,
Yeah.
when they enter the square it's the same cycle, but the red one activates very, very slightly before the blue one.
That's priority, does it?
Yeah. So it's within the same cycle, you can do things by putting it on the correct rail. Dodgily.
Clever.
So you could, in theory, run 2 actions in a single cycle.
Well, obviously you can anyway, because you can put 2 actions on the same.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's-
2 actions at the same point of time.
It's because you can do 2 actions that are not necessarily, because like the classic example is if you input and bond on the same cycle, if you do it like red rail input and then blue rail bond, that doesn't work. But if you do blue rail input and red rail, or is it the other way
I
around?
thought you said red came first.
Yeah, red comes first. The other way around. So if you do red input, blue bond, it inputs and bonds instantly. Whereas if you had those on the other rails, it wouldn't work. It would input and then it would move the molecule away before it got bonded. So you can use weird tricks like that to make even more ridiculous optimization. So yeah, that's the trick of Spacecam. Stupid shit. Stupid actual like things that shouldn't, things that are almost bugs. But you have to exploit them for excellent times. And then, yesterday I played Civ 5.
Civ 5.
Because I haven't played that since it came out.
No, you haven't. Any patches made any difference over the past, year?
Well, that's the trouble. It's like, it's been so long I can't even remember what it was like. It doesn't seem much different. Apart from I'd forgotten how incredibly simplified Civ 5 is. And it's like, well, holy shit, this is easy.
Yeah.
And I was playing it on like, because it has the classic difficulty, their old difficulty naming scheme where it's like chieftain and then it goes up to deity or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like 8 different goddamn difficulty levels.
Yeah.
All which have achievements linked to them, naturally.
Oh, right, okay.
Boo.
But, so I'd set it on, like, the second one, because I remembered, like, I could only, back in the days of Civ 4, it's like, I could only just about survive on the first difficulty level.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I sort of vaguely remembered that Civ 5 was easier, so I'd set it up to the second difficulty level, which is what I think it defaults to as well. And then I played the game, and it was like,
or something.
yeah. And then I played that, and it was like, wait, I'm totally hoshing everyone.
everyone.
It's like, what the fuck? I probably should turn this up. Although I'm not sure, it might just have been some weird coincidence with, like, maybe the civ that I ended up being given and the location I got put in, because I started next to these on the continent with 2 other guys, and they did really bad at expanding, so they both only had 2 cities, and then they started fighting each other, and I was like, well, I guess I just have to take advantage of this then, destroy. So I had a whole continent to myself, millions of resources.
There's a lot of that in Civ though, really, isn't it? The starters can be quite important to how
The key
things turn out.
thing, I think, is taking over the first neighbour really near the start.
Maybe.
It just gives you so much more resource and...
Well, it is the classic sort of thing with Civ where it spawns the initial settler, you know, it sort of prioritizes that so it's nearby, like, important resources or something, so everyone has something.
So your neighbour will have...
Something
if you get your
important,
neighbour's capital early, you get double.
Well, I mean, yeah, you get free city, obviously.
Yeah, but you also get the good resources that they put
yeah.
them in a capital spot.
Yeah. You can turn that off. There's an option in the advanced option,
so it's
it doesn't...
completely random.
Yeah, so it doesn't try and put the initial start in a good position.
But then you'd be screwed if you...
Theoretically, but everyone would be have an equal chance of being screwed.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
random.
know. Yeah, but then one person might have an advantage, whereas with at least everyone has the same advantage with the normal system.
Yeah, I guess. I think the annoying thing that I found on this level I was playing was I'd started in inland. I wasn't anywhere near the coast, so my first 2 or 3 cities weren't coastal. Mm. And then once I actually got to the point where I was extending out to the edge of the island, all the city-states on this island were on the coast, and they almost exactly filled up the whole coastline, so it's like, I can't even have a coastal city, there's not really any space.
Oh no.
So I had to kill a couple of city-states as well. But that was fortunate because the city-states on that island all wanted each other dead. So I was like, I'll just pick whichever ones most of them want dead, and then I'll get bonus profits from the other city-states liking me.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But it was a bit dumb. I had so much fucking gold. I was playing a Civ which had its special building was like a replacement to, the bank, I think. So it's like after Marketplace, you get the bank upgrade.
Anything economic.
Yeah, you just get, but even before I got that, I just had so much goddamn cash constantly. And I was like, holy shit. And then towards the end of the game, I was just like, oh, this city is slightly behind. Buy all the improvements.
Yeah. Just override everything.
So yeah. And when I had my initial military push, it was like, well, I guess I could just save some time and buy some of them as well. So I had so much cash, and I nearly sort of started to get towards culture as well, but by the time I was doing quite well on the culture trees, but I still had slightly too many cities to make a culture victory before I won by tech. So it was like, never mind.
Is winning by tech is still the spaceship, isn't it?
Okay. Classic. Although it's slightly more theoretically theoretically you can interfere with the spaceship victory now. Because before it would be like, you'd have to actually capture the goddamn city where they're building the spaceship part to prevent them from doing it.
Right.
But now the spaceship parts are an actual unit, and you have to drive them into your capital.
So
I see.
they could be intercepted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Unless
clever.
you build them all in your capital, I guess.
Yeah. But that would take more time.
Well,
Yeah.
it might be likely if they were like if your capital was the one that could build them the quickest.
Yeah.
But generally, you'd have multiple building in
Yeah.
different cities at the same time, so that
True.
you could put them together.
Yeah. So there is a way to sort of have a slight interference with that.
Because in Civ 4, there are quite a lot of components to that ship. I can't remember.
Well, the thing
you
is,
didn't
like,
have to have all of them.
yeah, in the older Civ games, it was like percentage chance of success depending on how many parts you built.
That's right.
So you could launch an incomplete ship and have it fuck up.
So is this one just build everything?
Yeah,
and
just build all the
instantly
bits and win.
Right, fair enough.
And of course, the classic. The other thing I did remember about Civ 5 was always turn off diplomacy victory. Because that's the classic where it's like, build the UN. Oh no, the computer players decided not to vote for you. You lose.
Oh, that sucks.
It's the worst victory.
That's terrible.
Because it happens the instant you build the UN as well. It's just like, they immediately vote for leader of the world or whatever. And if you don't win that, it can, like, not give anyone a majority and then continue and then have a revote some other time. But that first time where it pops up the vote for the first time, if you're not friendly with everyone at that exact point, you just lose.
Yeah, that's good. Can anyone else build the UN then? And then
No, only one person has to build it for that to happen. So
Yeah.
it just calls a vote as soon as someone builds it.
So if you're going along and then suddenly somebody else builds it and then you lose the vote, then you lose the game.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing because you could kind of like it's the last ditch attempt if you're sucking, I suppose. Like it's like shit, build the UN.
Give people loads of cash so they like me and then build the UN.
Yeah, try and get a friendly victory.
Yeah, that always sucks. Never go for diplomatic victory.
No. But you can turn it off completely so that no one can win that way.
Yep.
Sweet.
It's
Can you
always
do that with the other victory types then? Or?
Yeah, you can turn them all off if you want.
Endless game.
Well, it always ends after a certain time period.
Mm.
And I think...
You're so far in the future that the technology doesn't make any sense.
But it's only 2050. Yeah, which
it's
isn't
not
really
that
that far after the future. Normally by the time you get... Although in this, it has to be said in this game I was like launching the spaceship in 1911, so... I was slightly ahead of schedule.
Slightly ahead. Oh, by the way, a bit of news that I saw on Joystick.
Yeah.
For Axis,
Oh yeah, they're making
are
the
making an
thing.
XCOM game to
Oh,
go
really?
along with the first-person tactical
There'll
shooter.
be a proper XCOM.
A proper
Maybe.
strategic. From
Maybe.
the
They haven't really
makers-
said it.
From the makers of what?
Well, it's like everyone's saying, like, from the makers of Civilization Revolutions. It's like, but that was not really Civ enough. That's not tactical enough. That was kind of simplified.
Yeah, it's more like XCOM though.
Well, the original
Arguably.
XCOM would be probably considered relatively simple by...
But it's not. It's actually unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah.
There's all these ridiculous systems that you can sometimes exploit and sometimes completely fuck you up.
We will see. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so that was Civ 5, I guess. I finished a game in a day, and I actually had it on the slightly longer setting. I turned it up from standard to epic or whatever.
Yeah, well, you don't get enough time otherwise, but like...
Well, standard is like there's not enough time to do things that aren't just building shit and researching things. You can't do any military maneuvers because
you can't have a battle or a
No.
war going on.
because by the time your guys have reached the front line, they're already obsolete, and then the defensive side has a massive advantage because now you can build fresh units that are new.
Right next to them, yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of... I might, if I play it again, I might turn it up to marathon because I don't think even epic was long enough.
Marathon, yeah. You have to do it, don't you? And then you can't do it in a day.
Yeah,
You're like,
that's
fuck.
the bad thing.
Oh well.
I just about managed it in a day, barely,
Well, when you say a day, how many hours are we talking?
like
here?
all day.
So like 16 hours.
Maybe not that much. I think I woke up quite
10
late.
hours, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was quite ridiculous. And I had so much cash. And it gave me, that was my best score ever on my leaderboard. You know, it records every time you've won the game, or lost. Well, I haven't lost the game apparently. I thought I had. But that was my best score ever by quite a long way, and I was like, did I just get super lucky or something? Also, like, I had the best strategic resources, I just had tons of them. It's like, I had millions of horses at the start. Not that I actually used those very much, but as soon as iron appeared, I had tons of that. It was like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, that was weird.
It wasn't like a Civ advantage, like depending on who you picked at the start.
No, because my other advantage is I had like I had an early military unit that I didn't actually manage to build before it was obsolete, so that was irrelevant. I had the shit tons of cash building, and then my other civ advantage was like my golden age has lasted longer, and when I was in the golden age, all my units got like bonus movement and combat.
Cool.
Which I did exploit when my two neighbours started fighting. It was like, oh look, I've got a golden age. Well, I guess this is the perfect time to go over there and own them then. So that was handy. And that was Civ 5. Maybe I'll play it again. It's still a bit easy and simple. I'll have to turn it up more difficulty. I think my highest difficulty win was at like difficulty level 5, which is like half.
I was about to say, have they expanded it yet?
Yeah, there's been a million DLCs, but
Are they just maps? Because a lot of them were like challenges.
well, there's civs and maps, and scenario maps where it's a specific thing that you have to do, like the New World or something. Go over there and fight Aztecs, motherfuckers. Always Aztecs, bastards. Also, the other thing that was weird was one of my neighbouring civs in this game was fucking Rome. And they should have totally been owning me on military, but they just were completely rubbish at building their cities. So
Yeah, must have been.
they didn't have any force.
Must have been the difficulty setting or something.
Maybe.
Or just luck on
Yeah.
where they landed.
It was extremely weird. So yeah. And then Skyrim. So let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, so last week on about Tuesday, because it's the 3rd of January, I looked up Zach's Steam account, and I looked up the amount of hours he played on Skyrim. It was like 160. And then I looked up the date of his first achievement on Skyrim, which was November the 30th. So I knew he'd played it
What
from...
is the first achievement?
I can't remember.
Is it just
like,
just like
released?
is it like just finish the tutorial?
Yeah, anyway. And then you'd had it for like a month and a bit, obviously, like 5 weeks or something. So I worked out with a calculator that over that time you'd averaged 5 hours a day in Skyrim.
It's not that bad.
So
That was quite a lot.
obviously that includes weekends. So if you start comparing that to, so I have a 40-hour week at work. So what's that? 35-hour weeks you were doing equivalent? Just basically a full-time job. That is a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
35 hours. So
Yeah, over the weekends as well.
that's what I mean. But yeah, so it's spread. So you were doing some of your hours at the weekend where I did all my work during the week. But even so, if you compare that, you basically were doing a full-time job.
Except not really. It was always one complete day. There was never anything else. It's like if I started playing it, that would be the only thing
Yeah.
for the day.
And then the next day it might be something else.
Yeah.
But even so, on averaging 5 hours a day, it's quite impressive on a single player game. And you still got content to go?
Well, obviously.
Obviously.
There's a million content in that. But the whole point of this extra time was that I wasn't seeing anything new, really. Because I was determined to discover a way to play this game that's not completely retarded. And I don't think there is one.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't think there is one either, but yeah.
Because I finished the actual main storyline with my main character.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, now let's try playing a mage for a while.
Yeah.
Just pure magic.
Yeah.
And nothing else. So
Fire and ice and shit.
yeah, well, sort of.
Whatever.
Whatever magic suits the situation, I guess. Because obviously you're equally proficient in everything, apart from if you're on the destruction tree, you can level up one specific elemental power. But it's like, why would you do that? I mean, it gives a damage bonus to that one, but if you're committed to that one and then there's an enemy that has resistance to it, you're fucked. You need to be equally good in everything, but then you'd have to spend too many perk points.
Right.
So yeah, I tried playing this mage for a while, and you get you get mage armor, which magical is a specific spell that gives you an armor bonus.
Do you have to cast it then?
Yeah, you have to cast it, and it uses fucking all your magic, which is the first problem with it.
So then you can't shoot.
Yeah, so then you're fucked. but the thing is, normally it only lasts like 60 seconds, which makes it almost useless. But if you get the dual casting perk and then dual cast it, it lasts like 5 minutes, which is actually useful.
Quite
So you turn it on miles away from the fight, and then by the time you actually get to a fight, you're like, now I've got magic back. Right. Also, because obviously magic makes a sound, you have to do it far away so you don't alert all the enemies. If you're trying to sneak at all. But you have this mage armor spell, but then there's also in that magic tree, there's also specific perks that make it super effective if you're not wearing any other kind of armor. So if you're only wearing normal clothes, you get double defense on that mage armor. So that just seems automatically what you'd go for, and it is fairly sort of powerful, but you still really don't want to be standing there taking hits. You're still a fancy mage with no health, because you're having to put all your level ups into magic points. And it has exactly the same problem as the stamina bar, where it's just like, you stand there, shoot your magic off, your magic bar goes down, and then you're completely fucked. You just have to mash potions.
So I'm thinking of, because I want to use the shield.
Yeah.
What I don't use is your stamina, and then you're fucked, just like you said in your original run.
Yeah.
So I have been playing it, by the way, so we'll talk about this at the same time,
Yeah.
I guess. I haven't played it much, but I know a few things now. Basically, everything you said in your original rant, I pretty much agree with all of it. So, not that I don't like the game, I think it will be cool, but yeah, I agree with all that stuff. But like, I want to get the perk that means that the restoration magic also restores the stamina.
Yeah.
Because I did go in and fiddle with auto hotkey. So I have managed to get it. So I can press one button and it gives me shield and restoration.
The correct way round.
The correct way round, and then I press the other button and the sword comes back.
Yeah.
Correct way round. I press another button and the bow comes out, and then I can switch to...
Yeah.
So, that's actually sorted, so if you want to know how to do that, let me...
But I've got auto hotkey as well. I could theoretically do it, I just hadn't been bothered.
Well, there's a couple of like things you need to put at the top of the script to get it to actually work, because otherwise it just won't do anything. So if you do a standard script, it won't work. So there's a couple of like, you have to do like bind key or something, or grab input or some shit. Just so you know.
Skyrim has all kinds of fucking input problems.
It's
like how I can't use my goddamn volume control on my keyboard.
I can't use the volume control, it's so annoying. Oh, god damn it.
Also, it affects you as well, even in your wheel.
Yeah, it's the same thing, because the wheel, I think, sends
the wheel is
same
just
message.
like a button, really.
Yeah, it does the same thing. So it just sends that Windows message.
And sometimes when Skyrim has been under, like, quite heavy load, I've actually seen the LCD screen starts to glitch out.
Really?
Like, it's fucking with that program so badly.
Really? Weird. But anyway, that's really annoying. Maybe it's, but we do both have Logitech keyboards.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what happens on other keys.
You can try it on mine.
Yeah, but that's bloody annoying. Well, yeah, we can draw it on here.
Yeah, because you do have volume control buttons.
Anyway, do you want to carry on?
So then the next thing I tried after Mage, I didn't really get that far with Mage. Well, I basically prioritised going to the Mages College, obviously.
Yeah, where is that?
It's in one of the snowy places up on the top right.
Right, top right. North.
Well,
fucking
just ask any bartender where you can learn magic, which is not done.
Yeah. I've already got that quest, obviously. I've got a million quests.
Put it on the map and it'll tell you where to go.
Yeah, sure, I know, yeah. I'm not... all that stuff, I don't think the map is that great. I don't... Because, like, when you go to a quest thing that you've picked up a million quests, because everything goes in your quest log, and then I find it doesn't give me enough, especially for the incidental quests, which are most of the ones.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you much context.
No. Talk to a guy about another guy.
Yeah. Whereas in Mass Effect, it tells you basically the story up to this point, who the main players are.
Well, it does that for the main quest.
Yeah.
Because at the top of the main
quest, the side quest is like, talk to this guy.
But the side quests don't matter. That's the whole point.
I know they don't matter, but I want to know what I'm doing. Like, if I decide to do a side quest...
I don't agree that they shouldn't matter. I think they should matter, because,
Well, no, they should matter, but they don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you can get it to show you where on the map you're probably supposed to go.
Well, or exactly.
Yeah. So it gives you the little pointer thingamajig.
Yeah.
And then you can... I get confused with that set as your destination and set active quest stuff. What does that...
Well, it's because you can put your own marker on the map.
Yeah.
So you just ignore that.
So do you use your own marker?
No, never.
Never. You just make the quest active and then it appears on your...
Yeah, then it puts its own little cursor down.
Right, on your compass thing. Sorry, I need to learn how to do stuff because it's like fucking confusing.
Which doesn't sound good.
Yeah, well, anyway, but it's like some dude...
Still making me think, yay, we didn't vote it Game of the Year. Yay.
So it's like, talk to some dude. It's like, I can't remember who that dude is, for a start. And then it's like, my thing is that like, it's a cool thing about Skyrim actually works against it because like in most RPGs I don't remember the bloke's name who gave me the quest. I just remember where he was. But in Skyrim they have actual lives. Like they wander around. They don't just necessarily stand in the house. So I came back from this quest. I got this family sword just right at the start in Whiterun.
Right.
And you go after this cave which is literally 3 minutes away from Whiterun. It's in the throat of the world, but it's like at the bottom rather than at the top where the greybeards are or whatever.
Okay.
It's a tiny little thing.
Oh, right, yeah, I know.
You get the dude's sword and you come back and I was like, well, where is he? And then I looked up on the map and I found his house and I went there. He wasn't there. His wife was home. But I couldn't say to the wife, Well, I've got this sword.
There was no dialogue option for that.
No
result.
option, yeah. So I had to go and wander around trying to remember who he was, and then I
Couldn't
eventually
you
found
use the
him.
marker? Because it should still create a marker even if it's on a doom.
Oh right, where he is. Maybe that would have worked.
And the main problem with that kind of marker is...
It's right in Whiterun on the main map.
Well,
it doesn't show you it on the detail.
But it's not that, it's not just
the battle
cities,
map.
that when it appears on the compass bar,
Yeah,
it shows you, it's in that direction.
yeah.
But it doesn't appear in the world until you get really close, at which point it's irrelevant.
What doesn't appear in the world?
The marker above his head
Oh, right.
in the world
Yeah.
doesn't appear until you're 10 feet away. And then it's I think I can find him from there.
Yeah. So I did find him. He was walking. So
Yeah.
I could have missed him. But I just saw him in the street. I was like, oh, I just put my cursor. Is that dude? I remember. I'll give him back his sword. And it's,
Well, it's a lot worse when that can be, you really need to be able to use that navigation thing for when it goes wrong. It's there was one time where I got into this archaeology ruin or something. This was part of the Mages College thing, and you're going into this ruin and you're talk to this guy, he'll have a job for you so you can progress the ruin, I guess, go deeper. So it's and randomly, for no apparent reason as far as I can tell, this time because I did it again later, and he was just standing there, and I talked to him, and it was go and find these things in the ruin, and then it triggers the whole sequence of events. But the first time I did it, he had randomly decided to walk home, so he was out the ruin halfway up a mountain, and I was where the hell are you going? And then of course when you talk to him, he talks as if he's still in the room, he's referencing, just go over here.
he's halfway up a fucking mountainside or something.
That was quite... Luckily, he was walking and not running, so he hadn't actually got very far away by the time I realised.
So where are you going, dude? Oh, it's craziness.
So yeah, that was quite bad.
And there's so much weird randomness. Right at the start when you have no powers and you just walk to Whiterun, for example, anything could happen because the world is fairly dynamic. So there were just these hardcore elf dudes and right on... halfway between me and Whiterun, I just struck up a conversation with them, obviously. It's oh, dudes, I'll find out about the elves. And they're yeah, if you were to ship this Talos guy, then you're lame
bad,
or something.
yeah.
And I was well, I can worship who I want, clearly. And it's just no, wrong! Death! Instant death to me!
Well, that's, aggro people.
Yeah, I didn't mean to aggro them, I was just having a discussion.
Yes, but you should be able to tell that they're super zealots.
Well, fair enough. I didn't realise that. So,
It should have been
I think he talks to them for 2 seconds.
That's true.
It's splat. Oh, okay. I'll restart from way back in that village.
Well, that's what you have to learn not to... You have to remember to save in the world. Because it's good at saving every time you go through a door.
Yeah.
But if you're just travelling from one place to another, save it several times along the way.
Well, now I've got the quick save, because I did try playing it with the controller.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice. It's clearly meant... The looking around and movement is clearly meant for a controller. You can tell when you start. It's one of those mouse looks that's this isn't quite
right.
Right, yeah.
I know what you mean.
So I picked up the controller. I was oh, this is fine. But then I started having problems with because I kept pressing the wrong button. It was always wrong. The B brings up the menu,
Right.
And up on the D-pad brings up the favourites menu.
Right.
And then, what's the other key one? I guess the map is on. Or you can
normally.
You bring up the menu
B
and go down.
and then go down. Yeah. Or I kept pressing start and of course that brings up the system
Menu.
pane. It's like pressing escape or whatever. But I just kept doing the wrong thing. Because the key thing is, you got your bow out, you shoot the guy, and then everyone in the room starts running towards you, and you immediately need your sword.
Yeah.
And I always fuck, what button do I press? And the answer is you press up on the D-pad, pause the game and bring your favourites, so that you can then select the buddy. But I always, in a panic, that's not the button I want to press, and you cannot reassign that. B, you can press, and you can do it all the slow way.
Yeah.
Which would take bloody forever, and you'd be doing it all the time. But I was oh god! Beep! And then so I switched back to PC controls and did the auto hotkey thing. I did try getting auto hotkey to do the hotkeys that I wanted on a button on the controller, but that wouldn't work. I couldn't get that to work.
So do you think it would actually be better if they patched into the game the ability to sort of just assign.
Well, you can assign
buttons
some.
to weapons.
Yes, you can assign some.
You can
That is the
assign some,
problem.
but not others. Like of the buttons, it's like it lets you change like some of the controls,
Well,
but you can't assign favourites to a face button on the.
It'd be better if you could just do it.
360.
Can you do it on the keys? Can you
Not
assign
really,
a
because
favourite to a
the
button?
keys have a much worse problem where sometimes you can reassign a key, but it still retains its original functionality in some cases.
Oh,
It's like
weird.
you can like R for like take all out of containers. You can reassign R to something else, but it still also acts as take all in containers.
It's just bugged. Yeah,
So yeah, that's buggered.
that was craziness.
But yeah, then after I'd done my mage run, I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's slightly more interesting. I mean, magic is slightly more, you get different kinds of magic and different levels of spell and stuff, so that makes it slightly more
Actually,
interesting.
fun. Yeah, more fun.
Well, I don't know how, because it's still a big old hassle, because there was one specific, well, this is another problem in general, but I am having such problems with sometimes the leveling just seems completely fucked, as in like the level of shit in the world. It's just like sometimes you'll be standing there destroying fucking everything in one shot, and then there'll just be one random super hardcore guy who will destroy you instantly.
Yeah,
For no apparent reason.
yeah. I mean, there does seem to be wild level like swings like between things.
Yeah.
Like or whatever, or like just powerfulness swings. Because I understand that like there's the occasional dude
Well, some
at the
of
end
them
of the
are fixed
dungeon
level.
who is fixed level
Yeah.
or whatever, and then you're like, oh, fair enough. But I don't know, because then it kind of the way everything is dynamic is also weird as well. Because then it's like no matter how hardcore you get, everyone's always going to level with you, so you might
You're
as well
not
just
ever going to be that far
yeah,
ahead.
you're not ever
No.
going to be able to like destroy anyone.
Which is kind of discouraging
apart
from actually doing the
can
leveling.
sometimes.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, what's good about doing the leveling? I guess is just the perks, really.
Yeah.
Which
It's
But you
weird
can
'cause I
become
was sort of
overpowered
still
in some certain ways. Which is what happened on my third run. Because on my third run I was going super, like, dagger backstab.
yeah,
Like, I took the 15 times damage dagger perk, and I was putting, like, lots of points into the sneak tree so I could really sneak up on people.
yeah.
And that is just ludicrously overpowered. Because, well, also...
What happens once you get aggro by like the guy at the end of a dungeon?
Well, no, what I actually did was... I was going for this sneaky backstab plan, but then I realised that because the systems of this game are so, like, non-systems, like smithing, it's really easy to exploit. It's like smithing, every time you go to a merchant, just buy any iron ore they have, because it's only 6 gold.
Yeah.
So you just get shit tons of iron ore. Take all your goddamn iron ore to the blacksmithing thing, and just make iron daggers, because it doesn't matter how much resource you're using, you get pretty much the same experience. So it's just like, and it's like 1 piece of iron per dagger.
Right.
So you just go, dagger, 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 dagger. You just go up like, you just level blacksmithing like 30 levels, which give you probably 2 actual levels.
Right.
Every time you do this, for like 100 iron.
Sweet.
So you just grow blacksmith. So obviously, as you go up the blacksmithing tree, it unlocks better weapons and armor you can make as well.
Yeah.
So it's really quite easy to get to glass armor, which is, well, if you're going light armor, glass armor is like the second highest light armor you can get. So you can make glass armor and glass weaponry, which just gave me ludicrous, like, defense and attack power. And also because smithing, when you level up smithing, it allows you to improve those things more. So I was making, like, legendary glass armor. So I had
That sounds awesome.
I had this ridiculous amount of, and I'm only like level 20 or something.
But isn't there a problem that you've leveled blacksmithing loads and you are higher level overall consequently, but your actual combat skills are at a lower level? So when you encounter someone who is
combat becomes harder.
Yeah, but not really though.
Because
Because it's like to go up, if you're in the blacksmithing tree and you're going up to glass armor, that's only like 3 perk points. Because the blacksmithing tree doesn't have very many points on it.
But it won't let you spend the points until you get to the
Well,
level
no,
of
but you only,
blacksmithing.
your actual level goes up like maybe twice, well, I think probably to get to level 70 in blacksmithing gives you maybe 5 actual levels.
Yeah.
And you only need 3 of those perk points, so you still have 2 spare to give you a bit of a bump on the rest of the trees.
Oh, that's true.
And I was still leveling up plenty anyway. So I had this ludicrous glass armor and glass dagger, and it's the same thing with the random balance. I was still finding guys who are just one-shotting me, and it's like, I have this fucking uber glass armor that's giving me like 300 defense! How is this working? So that was annoying. But the glass dagger, my like legendary glass dagger, and I also put soul tap on it as well.
Exactly.
The thing that fills up the soul gems.
Yeah.
So I've got the soul tap glass dagger, so every time I just backstab something, it fills a soul gem. And the best thing about that is because when you do the enchanting for putting soul tap on a weapon, you can set how many seconds, because you find things where it's like, if the target dies within 7 seconds, it fills a soul gem, which is like how long the soul tap effect lasts on them. But since the dagger is like so insta-kill, you can set it to 1 second, and that means it has tons of charges, so I don't need to use very many soul gems to keep it charged up. But I don't think I've used one yet. It has like 200 and something charges.
It sounds like quite a good loadout.
Well, it sounds like a complete, like, exploiting the systems.
But, like I say, what do you do if you got you're a final boss and you can't backstab him because he's just appeared out of a coffin or something and immediately attacks you?
Well, there's various other exploits you can do for that, because as I discovered, say you walk into a room and it's one of those goddamn zombies who comes out of a coffin.
Yeah.
While they're doing their getting alpha animation, they still can't see you. So if you just leg it fuck up there and go, stab, it still counts as a sneak attack.
Really?
Yeah.
While they're getting
While they're doing the animation.
Can that kill them instantly and that's the end of the dungeon?
Yeah.
That's freaking ridiculous.
So, like, more exploiting of the systems. And so
still, what do you do if you've been aggroed by a massive boss?
Well, you just, like, use dual-handed normal weapons.
Right.
Go for dual-wielding, like one-handed weapons, because you've put points in one-handed anyway to up the dagger damage. Even though daggers don't have a specific thing in the one-handed, it's only like swords, axes, and maces that have specific perks.
So you just get 2 swords out?
Yeah.
And just chop. Like a chef.
You're just, because, I mean, you don't need to put any points in magicka, so you're only leveling up health and stamina, so those go up pretty quick. You just have this uber glass armor to absorb quite a lot of damage. And then potions. Actually, I was using stews. I hadn't actually graduated to using potions because it got to the point where I really wasn't ever getting detected or hit, even on quite tough enemies. And maybe the cool thing about doing this method is the backstab animation is like slit throat.
Oh, that's cool.
I see that all the time though.
Even when you're fighting normally with a sword, you just
you do occasionally
cool
get
finishing moves. That's cool. Kind of nice.
Yeah. But then the slitting the throat dagger animation is clearly awesome. Just creep up behind everyone and just one hit and bam! But the trouble with it is, there was one specific situation which completely fucked me up, where I had to get into this building, there was only one doorway, and there was a guard standing in front of the doorway, and for some reason this was another case where the enemies were unnecessarily overpowered compared to me, so even with my uber armor and shit, he was still really fucking difficult to fight normally if I aggroed him. So I tried using the normal exploiting the stealth system where it's like fire an arrow at a nearby wall so it makes a sound, and then he's like, what's that? And then goes over and looks at it, and then while he's still looking at it, you quickly run up there and backstab him. But for some reason, this one guy absolutely refused to hear anything. It was like I was shooting an arrow at the ground next to his feet, and he was totally fucking ignoring it. It's like, why are you not hearing this? This is really annoying. It's not using the normal system.
Maybe he's actually deaf.
Well, eventually I discovered, like, if I go behind this building and fire magic at the wall, for some reason that's loud enough to trigger him. But then the trouble is, then you're, like, completely exposed, and he runs the fuck up there, because also for some reason he doesn't go into a searching phase, he automatically knows where you are and aggroes. So, you fire magic at the wall, then you have to jump into this very specific hole where it's, like, behind 2 rocks, so he can never actually find you. And then when he de-aggroes, he casually walks past, and then that's So it's like this whole game system is built upon, like, exploiting the stupid shit.
It's all about cheesing the entire game.
Yeah, basically.
It's a game of cheesing the game. It's like, I mean, if you weren't a gamer, you have to be a real gamer to, like, play Skyrim and like Skyrim.
Well, I don't know, because as I said, probably, if you just went heavy armor, one-handed and magic, like, one sword in one hand, magic in the offhand, because it's using stamina for the weapon and magic, you've got, like, 2 bars you're depleting, so it's not quite, you're getting, like, more out of it per second or whatever.
Faster DPS or whatever.
And like more time before you're fucked. And if you go heavy armor, you can probably absorb quite. I think that's just like the default way of like someone who wouldn't know how to exploit every goddamn system would play it and enjoy it.
But even so, you'd still have to understand all the glitches that happen just in general with quests in the world.
Well, yeah.
You'd have to be like...
Well, not necessarily, because you could just think that was part of it. It's like, oh, the guy I was trying to get to isn't here anymore for some reason. And that, For us, it's like, well, that's obviously gone wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
But for another person, it might just be, well, he's somewhere else, obviously.
Yeah, fair enough. So I went to Whiterun, and I came out of Whiterun to go on that quest to find that guy's sword. And there was this, I think it was a club, I thought, and it was just hanging in the air, about 50 feet high, just hanging there. I was like, what the fuck is that? I started looking at it, and it was a club, and then I looked down, and there was a dead giant on the ground.
Oh, right.
I was like, where the fuck? I didn't realise giants were around here. It was the first
Well, that's part of the sequence.
Oh, really?
When you go to Whiterun for the first time, the companions are killing a giant outside.
Oh, they're killing a giant, because I met the companions, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice that. Okay, because the giant was just dead, and the club was just suspended.
The club isn't even meant to be able to, as far as I can tell, the clubs are just part of the giant's model. It shouldn't even be able to be separate.
It was completely separate. It was just in midair, just hanging there. I was like,
classy.
oh right, okay, fair enough. I just carried that on.
Well, that's the kind of shit that's all big.
I know, but I'm looking forward to
shit
more.
will come out of the ground for no reason and clip through things and jiggle weirdly.
Yeah, that's
Have you had
true.
a flying wolf yet?
No, I've had, like, when I walked between the opening town and Whiterun, there was a deer on the side and runs away from me.
Yeah.
It runs into the water and then sort of starts sort of ping-ponging from bank to bank, like a sort of, it's just sort of float, moves in very straight, non-animal, like the animals in Red Dead, just the actually like animals.
They sort of
weave.
Yeah, exactly. This deer was just sort of going, goes upstream a bit in a big line and then just sort of floats backwards and then comes into this other line.
Was it like going upstream far enough to the aggro and then the thing was zooming down back into your aggro zone and then it was getting scared again?
Maybe. I don't know if it was to do with me. It didn't seem to have much logic.
Or there might have been wolves up there.
Well, it went on to the other side and then there were wolves and they killed it. And I was like, oh, great. Yeah. And the thing is, because I died with those elves, I went back, and then I came back, and the exact same fucking thing happened again. The same.
Well, animals always seem to spawn in the same place, more or less.
Yeah.
Like, you know there's always going to be a frost troll at this specific point of the road or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was like, yeah. It's like, it seems like there's a lot of games, there's like, they just set up, it's RPG style, they just set up the world and the guys, all the characters and animals and stuff with their rules, and they just left them to interact or whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't care if some of the interactions are a bit weird, because you just get emergent stuff that's hilarious, like horses fighting dragons or whatever. But
the one time a dragon came and fought me where I was next to a stable,
Yeah.
the horses just seemed to aggro it automatically. It's not like the dragon like caught them with something and then they just went like, rah!
fucking dragon.
That's not really.
Horses fucking hate dragons.
It's like horses shouldn't aggro on anything. They should be like the runaway kind of animal.
That's true, exactly.
They just put the wrong programming on them, apparently.
Because, like, one of the things I like the most about some of the open world games, like Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto, is like, something happens in the world, but then the developers have thought of that, and they've triggered on it, and they've made something cool happen at that point. Like, and it's like, oh, they thought of that, and then in my head, even though it's like dumb things, you know, like, this isn't a very good example, but just in Grand Theft Auto, the way that sometimes somebody just drops an empty can onto the side of the road and just litter. The first time I saw someone litter in Grand Theft Auto, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, you bastard? It's like,
And then you shot him.
I totally did. I totally murdered that guy. I was like, don't fuck up.
Don't ruin my town,
Yeah,
bitch.
don't ruin my town. Yeah, it's just like incidental, stupid detail. But yeah.
So would you introduce a policy like that if you were like mayor of a town? Would you have like litter equals murder?
Yeah, so it's Grand Theft Auto. Vigilante justice.
But yeah.
But Skyrim, it's like they just let whatever happen. And that's fine.
It's just not.
There's too much that could happen for them to have thought of it. And
Well, it's like none of the AI routines in Skyrim are complicated.
yeah, exactly.
That's maybe one of the problems.
They're not very nuanced.
The AI is just dumb.
Oh, I know, just random mages for attacking me for no reason, and I don't even know.
Well,
where
that happens all the time. I think
right.
just so you get mages that are just like bandits.
Oh, I see.
Bandit mage.
I was like, oh,
Mandits. Or mages.
And I could see him running up to me. I was like, does he have something to say?
Yeah, sometimes people will just run up.
And then he got into rage. Just started blasting me. I was like, what the fuck? Who are you? I'd just been in a meadery.
I just want the scenario where you're standing there and you see some guy in the distance going, just sort of running towards you, and he gets there and goes, hello.
Hello.
And walks off. I really want that.
That can happen, I guess.
Hello.
Yeah.
There are classic like situations. I've had the thing that puts me off the most is like couriers like
Yeah.
the Imperial and Stormcloak couriers,
Fucking fair.
they'll just run straight past you. And it's really distracting because like you see a guy running down the road and you think, oh fuck, but then he just runs past. It's like there's no interaction. And that's actually really off-putting because that never happens. If someone's on the road, they're bound to be able to interact with you somehow, or, walking dudes won't, obviously. They have places to go. And there's this one goddamn couple who are trying to get to a wedding in Solitude, and they can appear virtually anywhere on the map, and say the same thing. It's like, we've got to get to Solitude. It's like, well, I saw you over here, and now you're all the way over here. I don't think you're doing a very good job.
Very lost. That's quite a good joke, though, if that is intentional.
Well, I don't know. I assume that, like, if you talk to them, they probably give you a little mini side quest or something to go to this fucking wedding and screw it all up somehow. Kill them all.
Do you just acquire all quests, or do you, like, just say, oh, I can't be bothered?
Well, it's getting to the point where, the miscellaneous quest just is like, get me 5 of this, or deliver this thing to a place.
Oh, they didn't do that. Oh, they kill 5 balls.
Well, it's not really necessarily kill. It's like, you can go and buy them in a shop if the shop has them. They don't care. Just get them to them. But yeah, and it's like, those are all irrelevant. It's just gold. Don't need gold for anything. Ever, apart from buying a house. And then when you've got the house, that's it.
Yeah, I need to save up for that. How do you get the gold to save up for the house initially when you have pencil everything?
Sell everything.
Sell everything.
Like in the barrow, move every goddamn thing you can pick up into the chest at the entrance, and then do multiple trips to get it back to town and just sell it off over several days.
Oh, right, okay. So I can just go back there. Everything's respawned, right? And then...
It only respawns after a certain number of days have passed.
Right.
So if you move everything into the front chest, it's good for like 10 or 20 days before it will reset the dungeon, basically.
Okay.
So you can just filter it down.
Interesting.
So yeah, more exploiting stupid systems.
Yeah, they might do.
Also, another good way
what do you do? Because I'm thinking about, like, I kind of don't want to leave Whiterun, like, permanently until I bought
it's like house. Really conveniently central.
Yeah. It's like, I'm in, because I've got to go up and see those greybeard dudes on top of that mountain thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's be the next thing to do, I guess. Although I've got some other crazy fucking quests all over the fucking place.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Greybeard like an ageist slur.
They're like Jedis, I think.
Yeah, basically. Voice Jedis.
Yeah. So anyway.
Shouting Jedis.
So, Skyrim. It is pretty.
So they literally just shout at every instruction at you.
Well, that's what the dragon shouts are, obviously.
I thought you meant they were just angry dudes.
No, they're like super silent.
Force is strong with this one!
They're super silent because they have the power of the voice, and it's like they can't expose their voice to the world. Which is actually kind of cool, because like one of them obviously has to be able to talk. He's the one who tells you everything. But the other dudes, if you go after and try and talk to them, they don't ever say anything other than like Dovahkiin, which is like Dragonborn in Dragonspeak or whatever. But just before they say it, like you get an awesome thunder echo where the whole world shakes, and they're like Dovahkiin.
Because that was kind of cool, that moment where they first sort of speak to you when you're
when they shout to the world.
I was like, what the fuck is that? And then you find out.
Yeah, then you find out.
Yeah, that's cool. I like the world looks pretty when you look at the big fuck off mountains, and then you look at the city from a distance, it's like, oh, that looks cool. And then when you go into Dragon's Reach or whatever, that is a cool building. Like, somebody thought about, although I was thinking about it, and it's like, it's a lot lighter in there than it actually would be. Where's the light coming from? Like if you think about a hall, it's dark.
Well, you think about how are all these candles always lit in every tomb.
But it's like super bright and really nice, like woodwork, and like it's really tall, and like this is really cool. But it's like, all high fantasy stuff is just so derivative of of Tolkien. I know Tolkien was ripping off Norse mythology, but like Whiterun is basically Edoras, except it's got the tree from Minas Tirith in the middle of it. It's a Motte and Bailey, which is a real thing, right? Where you have the mound at the back with the castle, and then you've got a big
city bit,
but it's still raised and it's got a wall around it. But even so, it literally is Edoras. It's right in front of the big mountain. It's got the hall at the top. I can't remember the hall in Edoras. What's that's called? But,
don't ask us.
Yeah, something called the Dragon's Reach.
Yeah, obviously.
Which is
probably, or it means Dragon Reach is something that's stupid elf language.
And then I went to the tree thing, and I started doing, and there's a little temple next to it. It's like, the tree's fucked up.
Yeah.
You need to fix it. It's like, so this tree is pretty much the same as the tree in Lord of the Rings, isn't it? It's the fucking same thing. It's like, it's from a sapling from this other tree. It's like, that's what it is in Lord of the Rings. It comes from the white tree, the saplings from the one in the one that fell into the sea. What's it, Numenor or whatever? Yeah. So it's like, damn it, it's just so derivative. And also like the big mountains. They look huge,
but they're not.
but they're not. What is that? Is there a forced perspective going on? Because you walk
Well,
up
the
them.
FOV is fucking tiny.
Is that it?
Which I find, I'm not sure, but I think that actually starts to make me motion sick after a while.
Yeah,
The FOV
maybe.
is so tight I actually can't. So then I just start consoling it, where it's just like,
Yeah.
because the default is like 65 degrees, which is ludicrously tight.
Yeah,
So I bumped that to 70, which is like standard for games, and that seems to help.
yeah, yeah. I might do
I
that.
tend to play mine on 90 on a widescreen.
Well, yeah, I don't have a widescreen, so
So I've got a widescreen, so I might look into that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like that mountain looks enormous. It's got like clouds and especially throughout the world, obviously. And then like, and the
I'm
first
as tall as the clouds!
I came down and the Barrow thing looked miles away, and then it's not. It's like 5 minutes walk or
Yeah.
something. And I'm not walking fast.
No.
So what is going on? It's like, it looks epic, and that's cool, but then it's not actually epic, but you wouldn't want it to be bigger, because otherwise it would just take more time.
Well,
get
apart from you
places.
can fast travel everywhere.
Yeah, I guess.
Really, it's really
Not places
super.
you haven't been.
Well, no, obviously, but it's really super like generous. In fact, it's like anywhere you've discovered, you can just click on it and go there.
Well, that's cool, I guess. Yeah, anyway, yeah. So I will play some more of that at some point, but I've got a bit bogged down, because like, I don't want to play it for just an hour, and that's all I've really got on work.
Yes,
So
that is a problem.
that's the trouble. So I might not be playing that for a while, but
I discovered
It's
I went on my stabbing playthrough. I made sure to find out you have to do the Greybeards bit. Go up to their temple, get their first mission. Do that mission to get the where you have to go and get a horn. Except it isn't there because someone's nicked it. But then once you eventually get that horn back to the Greybeards, that's where they'll tell you about the shouts in the world.
Did you get the horn?
'Cause that's the important thing.
that's what you
Did
need.
you get the horn?
Yes, got the horn.
Good.
You need to know where the shouts are.
Dirty man.
Okay, so I'll go
Not because they're
so I
so
should do that next then, pretty much.
Yeah, just progress the main story just a little bit.
Okay,
Filthy.
and I can save up the house.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
But there was one more thing I just wanted to say about Skyrim
Yeah.
in the ridiculousness of my backstabbing run, was that eventually, once I got this super upgraded glass armor and glass dagger, I had finally become powerful enough to backstab a dragon in one shot. Which is just super awesome.
What kind of glass is this shit made out of?
Well, it's clearly not glass. It's just like teal.
I'd be more worried. Well, you can get teal-coloured glass.
Yeah, you can, but
I'd be more worried about the glass sort of causing me some kind of injury. Like, if they get shattered in an awkward way, it's like, oh shit,
I don't
this
think-
glass is now part of me.
it's made of like malachite, that's a real rock. What is that malachite? It's an ore of some kind, but I can't remember what.
Mineral, yeah.
Yeah. But it's clearly not glass. It's not like silica.
No, okay.
It's just called glass armor.
So it's like actually crystal armor.
Not really. It doesn't even look crystally. It just looks like
Is
teal.
it like the equivalent of the mithril stuff or something?
Yeah, I
Is it
guess.
really expensive?
I guess it is like the second highest light armor before dragon. So I
Oh,
guess
right,
it is
dragon.
the equivalent of mithril, really.
Yeah. What's that? The shield in Zelda, the mirror shield, is obviously the most strongest shield is a mirror.
Yeah, obviously.
Smash.
But it's
cool
just
for
like super
puzzles.
polished, I guess. So.
Yeah.
What was the thing that Captain America's shield is made of? It's something ridiculous like vibranium or something.
I'm sure.
Vibranium.
Because it like apparently absorbs all vibrations. So they called it it's like, so how much of this have we got? That's it. They used all their vibranium on a shitty shield or something.
It's not shitty in the cans
Well,
of
no.
Captain America.
I know, but no scientist.
But what else are you going to do with it?
It's
Keep sample of it for scientific
Okay, a sample. But you need a tiny amount of that.
Is vibranium
Perhaps
better than adamantium then? It's the same universe.
Oh, that's a very good question.
Because that exists in the same universe,
I don't
doesn't it?
know.
Yeah, because
'Cause
they're both part of
What's
the
it, X-Men?
Avengers.
Wolverine has adamantium bones.
Is Wolverine in the Avengers?
I don't think so.
I think he is, surely.
No, I'm pretty sure he isn't.
Because it's like Iron
It's
Man
Marvel,
shit.
obviously.
Yeah.
They're both Marvel, so yeah, they must exist in the same. I don't know if there are any X-Men in the Avengers. Anyway, I don't
think so.
I don't know. Fuck off. There's so many X-Men that they can just team up themselves.
Yeah,
Just the
exactly.
X-Men.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But
So
anyway.
we don't need a team. We already one.
So I went. This was more stupid exploiting in the backstabbing a dragon category. But when you go to where those dragon word walls are, where you
Yeah,
learn
yeah.
the words or whatever, if it's one of the ones where a dragon lives,
Yeah,
like, that tends to be on the top of mountains, obviously,
naturally.
because that's where dragons live.
Sure.
But they tend to, like, perch on the wall when they're not flying around. So it's like they're sitting on the wall, and you can sneak up on them just like any other thing, provided you're not in their line of sight and you're moving slowly or whatever. But most of the time, you have to, like, do dodgy rock climbing to get up onto the, like, cliff behind them, so you can actually reach past of them, because they don't hang low enough.
Yeah.
And then you creep up there and backstab them in the tail. And, like, the first time I did it, it took off, like, this was before I got the super upgrade, but it took off, like, half its health. But then I was still hidden, so it flew around, came back, landed again.
Again.
But then the second time I did it when I had upgraded, I stabbed it, it one-shotted it, but it didn't die immediately, because what happened was, when I hit it, it knocked off all its health bar, so the health bar didn't even show up, and I was like, did I actually kill it? I can't tell. So it took off, flew, did a crash landing sequence, because they have a sequence where once you knock off a certain amount of health, they crash into the floor. So it flew around, did this crash landing sequence, and then when it finished the crash landing sequence, it was like, I just suddenly realised it was already dead.
I said, yeah.
That was classic. So it's like, it's clearly not designed to handle this ridiculous system, but again, it's like, you can become so overpowered with this 15 times backstabbing.
When you're sneaking using the keyboard,
Yeah.
do you use the walk thing?
Sometimes you have to.
Right.
It
That's what I
depends.
was wondering. Because obviously with the controller, I was sneaking
Yeah, you can
controller
move
style
slowly.
with the analog movement. But I was wondering,
Yeah, there is actually, I mean, obviously on the PC it's a toggle, but it does actually make a difference.
but walking when you're crouched or whatever.
Makes you so goddamn
really
slow.
goddamn slow on the PC. But I don't know whether that's the level, if you go even faster than that slightly when you're using
Oh, right, yeah.
whether that was the...
Well, I don't know
too
where the
fast.
cutoff is,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you wouldn't know on the analog.
You wouldn't know. You just
Rather than it being a toggle.
Hmm.
But as I discovered, even with not full levels in the initial stealth perk that makes you harder to detect,
Yeah.
you can still run crouch right up behind someone and they won't notice. You only need to use the crouch walk when you're moving through their vision.
Right, yeah. That makes sense. Cool. So anyway,
And then another thing that I was thinking of doing on this stealth run was I put some points into pickpocketing because that's like that's the natural complement to
Yeah.
sneaking up to people, sneak up to someone, steal all their shit, then murder them. Level up your pickpocketing at the same time. But the top perks in like the pickpocketry are ludicrous. Where it's like the second highest perk is you can steal their weapon, and the highest perk is you can steal their armor.
oh, genius.
Where it's like now you're naked and you haven't even realised.
Stab. Awesome. I think that sounds like fun, to be honest. I know it's broken, but that's the whole point of the game. Yeah, the game is broken, so you just have to break it in a way that makes it awesome for you.
Yeah, I think this backstab run is probably... The trouble is, it's the same as my main run where I was doing stealth bow, because my bow was like ludicrously overpowered damage for stealth attacking and with the bow upgrades.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing where it's like, it's maybe slightly more interesting and fun in some ways, and it is fun to like, work out where the patrols are and then stealthily take them all down.
Because I love stealth games.
In that kind of way.
To sell.
But it's still the same problem of it just makes the whole game more slow. You're crouching everywhere.
It takes forever, yeah.
You have to watch the routes and all that kind of stuff.
One dungeon takes ages.
Yeah, so it's the same problem.
Anyway, Skyrim stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to just talk a little bit, but now
Yes.
it is my turn.
Your
You
games.
haven't got anything else. Yeah, so I've played a few games over the break.
You actually did.
yeah.
More than us. Different games, to say.
Yeah, should I start with that? I've been playing the Magic game, which I got for like £3 or something. That's quite a good implementation of Magic the Gathering on a computer.
I think I still struggle sometimes with how the timings work.
Yeah, so it's cleverly done so that it doesn't take forever, but you do have a chance to jump in at the right point.
Yeah.
But sometimes
I think like because when you're used to doing the card games, like the actual precise moment, you don't have to be quite so precise. It's like, oh, as a fast effect to your thingy, I'll do this. But on the console, you need to be able to do the right instant at exactly the right phase.
Well, the thing is that once you've pressed the timers go down, and once you've pressed pause, you have infinite time to figure out what to do, and you can give up and say no, carry on or whatever. Yeah. It's just you have to be aware, and of course there's also you have to be aware because of that rule change to do with the combat not using the stack anymore. You now have to do things like Well, I don't know if you could do this before, but basically you have to stop them in their main phase before they or during the beginning combat step before they declare attackers. If you want to like tap their creatures to stop them attacking,
Yes,
you have to do it before
attack.
You can't do it in.
Yeah.
You can't do it in response to them declaring
Yeah,
attackers.
which is fair enough.
Which
That
is
actually
cool.
makes a lot of sense because otherwise it's really irritating. It's like, so I attack with this, no, I attack it.
yeah.
And it's like,
You can't do that anymore.
yeah, because
which
that's
is much
basically
better.
just fucked up your entire plan all the time,
Yeah.
didn't it?
So
It's
you
like,
you now have to, with your icy manipulator, you have to declare. You have to
stop them
stop.
from being able to attack with it before they attack, rather
Yeah.
than like because it was always really annoying. It's like, right, I'll attack you with all of this, and it's like, well, I'll remove your key element, so your attack's going to fail miserably.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
You
fuck
can't.
you.
Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, you
Yeah.
can still. So after attackers are declared, you could then play an instant that like destroys one of them or whatever,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But it won't stop that creature from attacking. It will just it's attacking and then it's destroyed or whatever.
Yeah.
So if there's something that triggers on a number of creatures attacking or something, that will still go through.
I still get slightly confused by that rule that we stumbled across about like essentially confusing a fight. Like there's one of the challenges you'll come across is like you get attacked by this massive swarm of enemies. Like survive the attack and then go on to
Win.
That's the
win.
thing. That's what I. So there's various of these puzzles
Yeah.
in addition to the.
They're clever, don't get me wrong,
and
right?
they are cool. I really enjoy trying to work out because they're hard. Like
they
some
are
of them.
The trouble is,
Although my main problem with them is that some of them are a lot easier if you've played them once before and you know what you're going to draw. Because
well, yeah, you just have to basically.
Yeah,
you have to fail the
spend a
first
few
time.
times
There's a
and
certain
see
amount of
what's
trial and
coming.
error.
And that annoys me. The puzzles should be solvable on the first thing, but a lot of them aren't. Like, a lot of them rely heavily on knowing
Well,
what
it's
you're
like
going to draw.
sometimes there are some puzzles where it doesn't even rely on every element. Like you'll get some cards.
Yeah, because there was that one where we.
red herrings where it's like, oh, perhaps I need to grind his deck down.
Oh, there are red herrings, but that's
or
cool.
grind my deck
Yeah.
down in order to cause instant win, which was the clue in the end, but not the way that initially.
There's always there's
Yeah.
often a different alternative.
But the other trouble with the puzzles is sometimes you don't actually know what you're meant to do. You don't know the rule, and then you have to kind of accidentally find out this,
Well, it
like, the
does
thing
have
me and
all-
Rob
Oh
had.
yeah, like
That's all the info.
as I say, this accidental rule we stumbled across is like I call it fight confusion because it's basically the way to do one puzzle was to they're attacking you, so you assign your blocker, and then during the instant phase you cause a sacrifice to happen,
Yeah,
meaning that attack is still blocked.
yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? There's nothing there to block the attack.
But it's blocked.
And it's like, but it's blocked. And it's like, so I call that confusion. It's like the guy's like
Okay.
gone for the swipe, and it's like, oh shit, nothing's there. What do I do?
But in that's one of the rules they changed because in the old version, because combat damage used the stack, my
The
dude.
attackers would always then have to be reassigned to the player or something. Something would have to get in the way.
Well, it wasn't. The damage would never get. I don't think damage would ever get assigned to the player after the creature is blocked, no matter what happened.
Oh no! But you know what I mean. If you were doing that sacrifice the creature routine, it's like the blocker wouldn't have been assigned.
Yeah,
by
because the
step by
sacrifice goes
step.
to the top of the stack.
So the attack
Like that.
would still go through.
Yeah,
So that's different, and it's like when we just stumbled upon that like by accident. It's like, wait, what? What just happened?
but you could. I think you could do this thing where combat damage was happening in response to the combat damage. You could sacrifice your creature. The sacrifice happened. Your creature died. And then the combat damage resolved still. So your creature was no longer there, but it was still causing damage. Like, they could swipe from beyond the grave. So it just made... yeah, that was what used to be able to... Now that can't happen, because combat damage happens instantly
happen
in one...
last,
it happens in one go, and it happens before... Yeah. Anyway, this is Magic the Gathering, a trading card game. But you can buy the
Probably
thing...
should have said that first.
Yeah, you could buy the Magic the Gathering Duels of Planeswalkers 2012 on Steam, and it has a bunch of set decks, and it's a really good version of Magic. And I'm impressed by those puzzle things are cool. And I've gone in, I've finished the first campaign, and I've gone in, and there's this arch enemy campaign, which is really strange. I don't know if you've come across this.
I've played one of the challenges on
Yeah,
it.
well, you know what it is
Yeah.
then.
It's the 3-on-1 fight.
3-on-1. Yeah.
But the one player has significant advantages in terms of those the
Schemes.
schemes.
It's
That's
got these
it,
freaking scheme things that just... I can't explain
like random
Magic.
each turn. He draws a card, shit will happen, and it's like often to the detriment of the other three.
Well, massively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like all creatures, all other players' controls come under your control and have haste or whatever.
they're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, like oh fuck, yeah. So, but I found that one of the tricks to that is to make sure that all your guys, not just you, but your allies, if you all play with the same deck and you have one of those cards which is like for all of this creature type in play, then suddenly you've got 3 lots of people playing that type of card. Like if it's like this creature has power and toughness equal to the number of illusions on the battlefield, and 3 people are playing illusions, suddenly that card is like a 6/6 or something.
I see, yeah. Immediately more powerful than it would normally be.
So you can use that. That's
of course, again, as you say, that could be turned around by some scheme just taking control of them.
Yeah, that's true. There's nothing
Here you
you
go,
can do
have a
about
2020 coming at you.
yeah, but that's just how it is. But yeah, so that game's pretty cool.
Archmage is a little more random, I think, than the normal thing. It's a little harder to it's a little less out of your control.
And technically,
A little less in your control. Double negatives. Fuck.
And the game itself looks nice. All the effects work fine, and you can run it in a window. And if you turn the music off, you can just play music or a podcast along with it.
Yeah,
and
the
it's a
music
good
is
game
kind
for
of
that.
irritating.
I immediately turned it off, but it's like it's a great game for doing while you're listening to podcasts or listening to music.
I don't know. I think I'd have to. Yeah, I'd say you'd be thinking about it too much.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
rules
not sure,
and shit.
I'm not sure it'd be
I'll stick with
podcasting
music then.
for me, but
I've only listened to albums while I was playing it, but I found it was really good for that.
I find
And I've got the internet on the side. If I want
does
to.
the PC suffer from the loading things so badly, or does it insta load?
It has loading pauses?
Yeah, this is the problem. Like, this is my one complaint with the console version, is that it load pauses whenever it needs to load cards.
Oh no! There are pauses where the AI is working out what to do.
Oh, that's fine.
On occasion,
No, that's okay. I can deal with that because it has to think. You know? It's a complex game.
but it's not like thinking. It actually the game kind of stutters.
Stutters
a
instead.
second. Where it's like,
interesting.
oh, what am I doing? Oh, I'm doing.
Oh, that's not so good. But yeah.
Well, it's fine.
But yeah, it's fairly
not
understandable.
long. Yeah.
But yeah, I have a problem like when you unlock a card, or at the end of a fight or something, you get the loads back to the menu, and then you get a loading pause. Like, as it loads the cards you've unlocked. It's like, for some reason, the loading of the graphic of a card, which is just an image, takes a long time.
Yeah, there's not much of a problem.
So it's a bit weird. Like, the console implementation's not particularly great in that respect. It's fine when you're in a game. It's just the out-of-game stuff is a bit clunky.
It's not even like it's reading it off a disc.
No, there's no excuse for it, basically. But it's
And there's kind of a little bit of a strange thing on PC where when you're actually playing the game, the mouse, you can use the mouse fine, and it works great. It's probably a lot easier than fiddling around with the thing.
But they do have nice controls actually on the console for how you can do it. Like if someone plays a card, there's there's always a button assigned to, I want to look at that. And there's, no matter what card is played, no matter if it's your turn, one of the other buttons will be look at last card. And so you can always skip to what's going on, which is kind of nice.
But then when you're out of the game on just the main menu, which you just use to go into the game and stuff, that is it's all consoleized. So the mouse
doesn't work that well.
It doesn't really work with it. I mean, you just use the arrow keys to do the menu, but it's a bit strange. But anyway,
It's like Skyrim.
yeah, exactly. It's like Skyrim. So anyway, that's that. Get that out of the way.
It's not bad, is it? It's
it's good.
I should play more of it, really.
It's good because magic is good, and but it's well constructed.
The decks are fairly balanced, aren't they? Which is nice.
Yeah, the decks are quite cool. Some are definitely better than others.
Yeah, and some of the playoffs between the two, like some decks will always win over one. Like some decks,
but you get to choose fine.
Yeah,
and it's
but sometimes, it can be frustrating when you're when you haven't seen a deck yet, and it's like, well, what do I take against that one? I don't know.
And if you're a new player and you're learning to play Magic with this, just so you know, there's a lot of luck involved. Still, even now, it's like you can lose badly and then the next time win relatively easily just because of what you draw.
Yeah, the draw is so important.
Yeah, so. And you can tell sometimes the computer player's not having much luck with his draw.
Yeah, because they're not playing anything.
Yeah, they're just stuck.
And other games you'll be in the same situation. It's like, I've got fuck tons of mana. What do I do?
They're just
I've got nothing to play with it.
Exactly. It's just the typical Magic stuff. So yeah, that's that. What else have I played? I was playing the Formula 1 game before Christmas. F1 2011. It was in a Steam sale. Yeah. It was pretty good. You can imagine. I found myself playing almost more of it than Dirt because you just get on you just go on. So you have to learn the maps, otherwise the tracks, the circuits. Otherwise, you're never going to win the races or anything. So I just stuck on time attack or whatever, and then you just drive round and round. And then,
Till you get the hang of it.
suddenly it's like 2 hours later or whatever, because you just go round and round, and the car feels right, and you get faster and faster. And it's like, that's circuit racing is like almost my favourite stuff. It's just get
Just
lap
let
times
qualify.
and and there's enough interest in because obviously it has all the real circuits, and you can't get better than that for circuit design. They're the Formula 1 circuits.
They're the
Fucking
real
great.
things. It's like-
I mean, and they vary quite wildly. I'd forgotten, but Silverstone is completely different to Monaco.
Oh yeah.
Completely different.
Monaco is not the best thing to compare it to.
Monaco's
Monaco is
completely
totally
different from
yeah.
everything.
Well, arguably, there's definitely
Apart
some
from nowadays where they have like
Yeah.
Singapore street race or whatever.
Yeah.
But even the ones that you'd think would be fairly similar, they have a definite feel, and I think it comes across in the game. I think the graphics wise, like it's the same engine as Dirt, but it's not as pretty.
good, no.
But when you're actually on the race track, it looks good because they're interesting tracks.
And,
Like,
there's a lot of stuff happening actually, isn't there?
There's a lot going on.
There seems to perhaps they've had to dumb down some of the fidelity to simply deal with the number of cars, which is quite a lot.
yeah. It looks good when you're racing. The replays I don't think they look good. There's something off about them or something. But I don't care about that in this. In Dirt, they're great. I like them in that. In this, I don't want to watch a replay of me driving.
Well, they'd be quite long as well.
and long and relatively boring watching me. But
Unlike real F1 somehow.
yeah, and I like the cam that's the TV cam that's above your helmet. That's great for driving because you can see your wheels and you can see them go over the
It's
red
like
and
bonnet
white.
cam.
Sort of, but because it's open,
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
It's that game's equivalent of bonnet.
It's
cam,
the equivalent, yeah.
Which is
You
slightly-
can do bonnet cam, I think, and you can do cockpit, obviously. But
Yeah,
that one is
okay.
like really good because you can see your tires, you can go over the bump, and you can know you're hitting the apexes correctly, and it just feels. I mean, the downforce stuff. You ever get a real feel for it because suddenly you lose grip and sometimes and it's really fucking fast because it's Formula 1. It's like I prefer that for circuit racing. I find with Forza a lot of the time, even in the fast cars, I screw up a corner or something, or I do it well. I come out and then I floor it, and then I just have to wait for the braking point of the other corner.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
We've argued that point, but yeah, I know what you mean. Well, it's F-Zero for real life.
Yeah. Whereas in Formula 1, it's like, oh god, this is so fast, I'm gonna brake in a second. Oh god, slow the fuck down. And yeah, it's really good. And then when you actually get to a race, so at first I thought, oh, this is too hard, I'm not going to win any races in my first season, which is fair enough because that's like real life.
Yeah.
But then I started learning the tracks, I was like, oh, I can actually get, against medium AI, I can actually get pole position, and then I can just stay ahead.
Yeah.
If I don't screw up, I'll win. But even then, it's fun, it's nerve-wracking racing, because it's like, they are coming up behind you, and you can tell because your guy talks to you, and
You get the proper banter's there.
And there's quite cool, like in another game, it'd be the guy behind. You've got to go faster. The guy behind is catching up.
Yeah.
In this game, you've got to go faster. Schumacher's behind you. It's like, oh god,
It carries a little more weight.
yeah.
Well,
somehow.
assuming you know the relevant name.
Exactly, but many more people will do
The
in
people
this.
who play F1 will at least know someone. Everyone knows Schumacher.
Exactly. So
Even if it is perhaps the other Schumacher.
And even if he is already retired, like once.
So I like this. So it might even make me want to watch more F1.
We can't.
Oh well,
Maybe
I can
unless you've
online.
got Sky Sports.
whatever. But anyway, yeah.
Fuck Sky Sports. It's like,
Oh, and it's got a turbo boost.
Right.
But
they have Kurz.
yeah, it's Kurz, so it is a real thing.
Wait, I thought Kurz got taken out of the 2011 series.
Well, they do.
No, it must have been in
They
2011.
take shit out and put it back in all the time now.
Yeah,
They're like,
exactly.
we've invented this new technology that lets us wobble a flap somehow, and it makes us awesome.
Well, it's got that too. So it's got the wobble flap and the turbo boost. So yeah, not all the cars have the turbo boost, but it is literally a turbo boost. You just press it, and
Yeah.
except
But
it
should-
recharges on when you brake.
Yeah, and it should like affect the car's overall stat. It should lower the car's stats like everywhere else, like apparently, like because Kurz was
Yeah.
heavy, it
Weight
affected
wise,
some
yeah.
of the.
But I don't know. Anyway, but the other one, the flat one, is more interesting because it's like
That was
you
about
go.
redirecting exhaust fumes, wasn't it?
Well, no, there's a flap on the rear wing, and you flap it down, and you have less air resistance, so you go faster.
Oh, but you lose downforce.
So
Yeah.
you turn it on when you go into a straight, and then when you brake, it automatically turns it off.
Okay.
So you can manually turn it off if you're accelerating, but going around a corner that would a slight corner, but one where you would lose grip in the rain if you didn't have the downforce. So you have to manually do some control of it. But generally, you use it in qualifying, but then you're only allowed to use it in a race when you're close to an opponent. So you can use it for overtaking,
Oh, I see.
theoretically.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's that.
So do they like penalty you or something if you use it at the wrong time?
No, you're not. It just won't let you do it
Oh, okay.
in the game. I don't know how it works in real life.
Yeah,
But
presumably
anyway.
it's penalties.
Right, we're coming to the end of this cast, but yeah.
Did you not manage to talk about some games? Did we talk about Skyrim too long again?
Fuck Skyrim.
Yeah, there were probably some other... Again,
I haven't done Batman yet. So.
No, I haven't finished Batman. I was going to talk about the end of Batman, but we'll get to that next time. But I was doing those side missions, and then I thought I'll do a bit more of the main story, and then I'll get back to the side missions, and it went into Endgame. Fuck.
Oh.
So the world
You're locked
changed.
in.
Oh, balls.
You
So
know.
the side missions literally disappeared.
No, I'm sure once I finish the game, it'll let me roam free and do them. But I was like, oh crap, now I'm
locked in
I'm
for a
locked
few
into the
hours.
end. Yeah,
So I better finish this
yeah,
now.
there's helicopters and everything flying around,
Balls.
shooting
Yeah.
everyone. I was like, damn. Okay,
Grapple
great.
them.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes, is the answer to that. Anyway, right.
That's all that matters.
Sweet. So, yes, that's the end of this edition. First 2012 edition
The
of
first
the
third
Saladcast.
edition.
The first bird edition. Look forward to more bird queuing in future.
Get your ornithology on.
Ornithological. Next week, look forward to the end of Batman. More Skyrim.
Maybe some new games.
Some new games, maybe.
Or new old games.
The start of Witcher 2, if I can be bothered.
Maybe I'll, finish some other stuff. Or maybe Explosion Man. I still haven't played that.
Yeah, there we go. Whole bunch. I've got Bastion downloaded.
Oh yeah, that too.
So anyway,
I forgot about that.
whole bunch of backlog. Hooray! More games for the future.
The blockage continues.
The blockage continues. But anyway, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on the Saladcast.
Pizza time!
Pizza time for us! Oh great, we got that in like 5 whole seconds!
Oh, what are we going to do at that time?
We'll have to talk about pizza.
Pizza!
It's pretty good Roblox pizza. Bye!
Weird.